Hello and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. There's all kinds of family. We chose this one. This is episode 99, Smokey and the Bandit from 1977. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too, and this episode is brought to you by the Pontiac Firebird. The Pontiac Firebird is an American automobile built by Pontiac from 1967 to 2002. It was designed as a pony car to compete with the Ford Mustang and Mercury Cougar and was introduced on February 23rd, 1967.
Shout out Pontiac. Thank you, Pontiac, for sponsoring this very important episode because the Pontiac criminally underrepresented in this lap, I think, of classic car movies. I mean, I just feel like, it's all Dodge, it's all Ford, it's all
Chevy.
It's all that, it's all Chevy. Not that my parents have ever had cool cars, but like I don't even remember what car it was, but like my mom had a Pontiac that my grandparents bought her and her sister a car, I don't know, 15 years ago, well, for 20 years ago, my mom had a Pontiac, and it was the coolest car that either of them ever had, so shout out Pontiac.
You don't remember what it was? Was it a Grand Am?
Probably a Grand Am.
Yeah.
Important to note, before we get to extracurricular activities, we are changing up the format, not really in any way that impacts anyone kind of at all about anything, but put this on Patreon overwhelmingly. I actually want to see the final tally. Last I saw it was 7 yes, so 7 yes, 0 no. We've opened a kind of a black hole accidentally.
Yes.
The way that our Patreon works at toofast2forever.com is if you subscribe there, I was posting the intro half of each episode the day after the previous episode. So you would have episode 98, our Fate of the Furious episode with Brian Silliman came out on Tuesday. Wednesday would have been 2 days ago, as you're listening to this, would have been the intro for this episode, right?
Yeah.
We were recording it all as I think normal people would, an entire episode at a time. So we would record the intro to Fate of the Furious, back half of Fate of the Furious. And the next time we recorded, we would do the intro to Smokey, back half of Smokey.
Yep.
And then I was editing, and it was especially around what really kind of tipped my hand, what really made me, it's something that I was thinking about for a while, but The Rock posting that 8-minute video, Where Are You? Calling out Donald Trump, essentially, basically saying we need leadership, Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
With so much going on, not that this podcast is ever going to be timely, because we're still only twice a week, but with so much going on in the world, with the fact that we are already recording 2 times a week, it's easier and maybe more important, even though I don't know if important is the right word, to record the intros closer to when they actually come out.
So the emails are closer to the episode.
Emails are closer, the news is closer, our extracurriculars are closer. So instead of recording on a Wednesday, emails and stuff, and what have you done? That comes out the following Tuesday, or recording on a Sunday to come out that Friday, it's now recording 2 days before. So we're recording this on Wednesday, June 10th, which was just, as you're listening to this, maybe a day and a half ago. It's as recent as we can possibly do without me going absolutely crazy and editing immediately as soon as we finish. So for the outside listener, for the casual listener, nothing will change. Patreon gets now the back half of the episodes early, which is pretty exciting. And that also means that your emails are going to be more timely. News is going to be more timely. That's a long way of saying nothing's changing, but things are better.
And the black hole, you got around your black hole talk.
We're recording the Smokey and the Bandit intro, but I've already edited and posted on Patreon the Smokey and the Bandit conversation. So theoretically, someone could have listened to the Smokey and the Bandit episode today and then written in before we recorded and said, hey, for the discussion that you're about to have, you did not talk about blank. And that's a weird mindfuck, kind of. I mean, don't do that. I guess you can, but don't.
No, I mean, it doesn't matter, because I know you could address it now before the episode, too. So
that's very true. Actually, that's a good thing. So yes, if you want the early access, toofast2forever.com. Yeah, it's a weird kind of paradox. I think it's better overall. I mean, it's basically the same amount of editing for me either way.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be better and more fun and more timely, and just, it's not like we're saying, when does this come out? It's still going to be, it's going to be even more confusing for you and me to talk about the show, I think, but because we're recording another half of a different episode today, but it is what it is.
We'll see how it goes,
But anyway, Joe, extracurricular activities, what have you been up to since, we did this a week ago. And when we did Smokey, we didn't do the intro, so what have you been up to in the last week?
We had a wonderful time at my birthday watch party for everybody that joined. We haven't talked about that yet.
Mm-hmm. We have not talked about it yet. We had a great time.
We watched Gone in 60 Seconds. A whole bunch of you guys were there, and I thank you. I appreciate it. That was like the only thing I wanted for my birthday this year. You know, a lot of people were doing drive-by birthday parties. I know Mr. West was doing or involved in a lot of drive-by birthday parties. And so we had a drive-in birthday party. It was always a good time, so it was good talking to you guys. I'm glad that we got to do one. Rachel finally joined for one. She said it was a blast. And when we finished, she was like, you guys should do those more often. I was like, well, yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Now that you saw one.
It's like if she listened to an episode, be like, oh, that was actually pretty good. It's like, yeah, like there's a reason we...
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying.
There's a reason that people listen and do this. Oh, boy. Okay.
That's what I was laughing about.
The difficulty, and difficulty is a strong word here, but the difficulty is that we can't watch a movie in the watch party that we haven't seen before, because we need to pay attention and need to actually know what's going on. Because basically,
True.
I did not actually watch Gone in 60 Seconds. Like, I sort of
not.
stared at the screen for a little bit, but like I just talked, I did other things while I was going on.
Yeah.
And just hanging out and kind of have a movie on in the background.
It's like a movie at a party, right? Like when you have like when you put a movie on, your friends are over. You're like, you're not watching this movie, so you don't want to pick something that nobody's seen. You're like having a party, and it's like, oh, it's on in the background.
And so that kind of limits what we can watch to basically the 9 movies, which we can do. We've already done 3 of them.
Yeah, we did 3.
So, you know, we can keep doing it, but I also don't want to. I mean, it doesn't matter. Who knows? You know, as quarantine goes on and things are beginning to reopen, who knows what's going to change? But you know, I'd be happy to do one every a couple times a lap, whatever.
That's what I think so too. Yeah, but we'll figure it out. I mean,
Plus, if it's too often, it might be a little bit less special. I don't know.
I agree. That's what I'm thinking too. But I wanted a birthday one. I got a birthday one.
Did you do anything fun on your actual birthday on Monday?
All I wanted was I wanted to go get a lobster roll. So I found a different place than what I normally go to, because like I like to try all the different lobster rolls around, and I found a really cool place that was open that had lobster rolls, so I went and got one, and it was actually crazy. So I go to this place, right, and it's cash only, and like I was reading online, they were like, it's cash only, but like they have an ATM. So I was like, cool. Really tight, like parking wise, there's maybe like 15 parking spots. There's nothing really else around it. You can't like park on the street around there. So I like found a spot, and I was like, oh, Rachel, look, we got so lucky. Cool. I go inside. I'm like, oh, can I use the ATM? Because like they were kind of keeping everybody outside because of quarantine. They're like, yeah, sure. I go up to the ATM, it's not working. And I was like, oh, that kind of sucks. Get back in the car. I'm like, we have to find like an ATM. So like Rachel takes me to like a CVS like 5 minutes away. I go get cash, and then we drive back to the place. We're in line. We hear them like talking weird like inside the place, because it's like a shack, right? There's like a walk-up window, and like nobody really eats inside, I don't think. I mean, like even during like when there's not quarantine, nobody really eats inside. There's like a bunch of tables outside. So I go back, and we're there. We hear them talking weird. The guys in front of us, they're like, oh shit, like we lost power. And they're like, okay, well, we're not taking anybody after this customer. And we were the last people in line. So they like come and put up a sign behind us and like have a guy standing there being like,
perfect
nope,
timing.
We're not serving anybody else behind them. I was like, damn, what birthday luck was this?
You were telling me, you messaged me, you said, look at this birthday karma, and then like you tell a story, the same story you're telling me.
Yeah.
But like the first 6 things are all bad. They're all just like, didn't have cash, the ATM didn't work, power went out. I'm just like, when is this just like are you saying that like you're a shitty person? This was all like the things like I didn't like, and finally the last one was just like, and we were the last customer. It's like, oh, fine, like, but like it was like bad thing, bad thing, bad thing, bad thing.
Yeah, it was like all these bad things, but like it was also leading up like if I wouldn't have had to get cash, I wouldn't have been the last customer. But like it still worked out, like even after all this bullshit I went through. But anyways, got a lobster roll. It was wonderful. Drank some beers. Just hung out, had a chill night. There's a 3-part 90 Day Fiancé tell-all, okay? 3 hours long of their Zoom calls of them yelling at each other after the show.
Oh, this is the thing you said that you couldn't even watch.
No. Okay, so during that, I'm watching the 90 Day before the 90 Day tell-all, which is like this really good season that I've been telling you about. They developed since then, and there's commercials for it now. There's something, I forget what it's called. So they have this other 90 Day So they have another 90 Day show, and it's called Pillow Talk, and that's where they get people from the other versions of 90 Day Fiancé to watch the episodes and do like live commentary.
Which you've talked about before.
Yeah. So then they have this other version that they just came out with. The people from this 90 Day watch their own episodes, but then read mean tweets about themselves during it and like clap back during the episode. And that just seems like a level of weird and toxic that even I can't take.
The worst.
It sounds like the worst thing ever, right? Like, it's so bad. And I was just like, God, like, they really stretch it. Like, they'll make content out of anything here. Yeah, I mean, as if 90 Day Fiancé tell-all 3-hour Zoom calls aren't enough. Yeah, you have that now too.
Anything else that you've done in the last week aside from watching three-hour things and eating a lobster roll?
I bought a Lloyd's pizza pan because I wanted to make pan pizzas, and I finally got to use it today. Right before we recorded, I made my first Detroit-style pan pizza, and it was wonderful.
What makes a pizza Detroit style?
It's in a pan.
Does it walk off the court before it shakes hands?
No, it doesn't. No, it's just like they use these special pans, like the one that I sent you the picture of. It's like essentially like a non-stick baking pan. They use like some wacky cheese too. I was talking to Zach about this. Like they use like Wisconsin brick cheese. I didn't. I use mozzarella. There's some other like things about it, and they use like a really heavy sauce and stuff.
Cool.
I just used a pan.
Let's see, what have I been up to? I guess the serious thing first is that on Saturday before our watch party, I went to a protest. My town, a little town. I mean, it's a little liberal hub in a liberal state.
Yeah.
But they had protests on Saturday and Sunday, and they were really well attended. I was really proud of my town for showing up. It was a good experience. I think it was a very good thing to do. Very important to show support and to be like to see. And it was really the first time I've been in public aside from the grocery store since early March, right?
Yeah.
And I was a little worried there, but I was like, I want to do this. The powerful thing, and I didn't time it, but I would imagine it was 8 minutes and 46 seconds, is they have like 25 minutes, or I was there for like an hour, and I think it went on a little bit longer, but like, this is going to sound terrible, but I was getting hungry, and I had to go to the bathroom. Also, when I was leaving, I checked my phone, you're like, hey, you want to do a test of this thing tonight? I was just like, oh, right, that's happening. So I was like, it was a good time for me to leave. They did like 25 minutes of kind of like chant and repeat. I don't know what the thing is, but like they would say something and we respond in unison or whatever.
Call and respond.
Yeah, call and response. And then we all knelt for, I would imagine, 8 minutes and 46 seconds, the length of time that George Floyd was, had the knee on his neck that killed him. And to go from like being in a group of people chanting and were angry and were sad and wanted change to suddenly being like in a dead silent field filled with other people also kneeling was like tremendously powerful. Like I wasn't aware of how like that would affect me, and it was really kind of special. I want to say things need to change, and I think that we've been talking offline that there feels to be a momentum in terms of just things that are. It seems like we're trending in a right. There's a lot of work to do, but it feels like things are trending in the right way, and it's good that so many people are speaking out on our Too Fast Too Forever Twitter. We didn't put out like an official statement or anything like that, but I've been trying to retweet and amplify, people in these movies and people that like Lego did a cool thing. We talk about Legos.
Lego did a really cool thing.
Black-owned candle companies, like we talk about candles a lot here, or like little things like that I think are important to amplify, and just I think it's a good time for everyone to just listen and learn and try to reflect on how they can be better, because like you and I are very privileged straight white men who have really had encountered no adversity at any point, you know what I mean? Like it just, things were handed to us, and I think it's impossible for us to know how it feels to be other than that. But I think listening and reading and just experiencing, and it just feels like to be a part of something bigger, right? So hopefully things change. I mean, we've talked about it. I think things are going to change, but
I think so. I'm hopeful.
Keep fighting. Yeah.
You were a little disheartened last time we talked about this, so I'm glad that you feel more hopeful now.
Yeah, I mean, it's scary, but things, I mean, and I don't want to, say that I wasn't, but like things have changed in the last week since we really had like a conversation about this. Like things have changed. Things are getting repealed, and it seems like there's progress in terms of defunding the police, and like there's a lot of progress towards making things a better and safer world for everyone, right?
Yeah.
And we got a lot of way to go, but it feels like things are tipping the right way now. So
we'll get a little bit, then we'll get pushed back, and then it's big cycles, but hopefully we're moving in the right direction.
A couple other things that are not that serious. I've been playing a lot of the mobile game Forza Street, which is on iPhone, and I think Android too. And you know that I've been a big fan of the Forza video games. It's like the Microsoft Xbox exclusive ones.
Yep.
This was originally a game called like Miami Street. That I think they probably just rebranded to be Forza Street.
Oh, nice.
There are Xbox achievements, which is why I'm playing it.
Oh, that's cool.
Addicted to achievements. But it's one of those like microtransactional based games where like, hey, you can earn gold, like 5 gold every like 20 races, or you can buy like 500 gold for $5. Like, doesn't that sound better? It's like, yeah, it sounds better, but I'm not spending money. What I like about it is that there's also what actually is good in terms of me not wanting to like spend money on it is there's the countdown clock, like the energy, like there's basically
every one of these games has this. Yeah.
a map, and it's like you know, not even each race, but there's like dots in between the races where you pick up items, or there's just like blank dots, and each time you go to a dot, it uses an energy. So like you can usually do like 10 or 12 races in an energy block, and one energy replenishes every like 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
But what's really cool about it, and this actually goes back to something we were talking about sports games, is that you can auto race. So like if you're every car is like a rating, like a power rating,
Yep.
on a scale of, I don't know, say 200 to like 800, right?
Yep.
And so the higher the number, the more powerful the car. And if your car is more than 20 higher than the car you're racing, you can basically just sim it and automatically win.
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like, why would I not do that? Like, because the racing, you're holding a thumb down and you like let go if you want to brake, and then if you hit it again to gas out of a turn. So like it's not, and then you tap the other thumb for like NOS every once in a while. So like it's not like a very complex thing, but it's just kind of cool. Like you're building a car collection.
Yep.
There's a lot that I can do, and I basically just play it while I'm listening to podcasts or right before I'm about to fall asleep or whatever. It's just a dumb, mindless thing, but
This
especially.
is essentially
It's all the same game. Just like this is a car thing, a car version of whatever Disney thing you're playing.
exactly what I was about to say. Yep, it's all the
same game.
thing. It's the exact same thing. It's brain mush. I picked the Disney one.
The only reason I'm playing this as much as I am, other than like I just think it's kind of fun, is that the achievements. Like I just like building the gamer score on Xbox. Actually, I'm gonna save this for later. I'm gonna talk about some movies first. I finished out the Beverly Hills Cop trilogy.
Cool.
Last time I talked about it, I saw the first one. I saw 2 and 3. 2 is also pretty good. 1 is great. 2 is pretty good. 3 is awful. And on Mike's podcast, he had on past guest and future guest Brian Rodriguez to talk about it, and also a friend of his who was on this lap too, or not this lap. He was on 2 laps ago on Tokyo Drift, I think. We had Dan Hayden who talked about Tokyo Drift. He was on with them. They all hated this movie, and it's so bad. It's so bad.
Like not even fun bad, just bad.
No, like Eddie Murphy's checked out. There's like the whole thing kind of takes place at an amusement park, but also they leave the amusement park, and like there's a lot of things here that feel like they're good ideas that just aren't executed well. And they were even saying on the podcast on Third Time's a Charm, they were like, if it was worse, it would be better, or if it was better, it would be better. But it's just boring, and
Those
no one
are
seems
my
to
least
care.
favorite kind of movies. Yeah, I hate the like just actually shitty movies. Like at least be
Yep.
like worse where it's fun for me.
I also last night rewatched Baby Driver, which I
fun.
love. We will cover eventually on this.
Yeah, we will.
And the other movie of note that I have watched since the last time is I watched Singin' in the Rain for the first time, which I knew was the Gene Kelly movie. Have you seen Singin'? I know that you hate musicals, but have you seen Singin' in the Rain? Because it's a classic.
I've seen the video part. I'm sure it was on at my house at some point, but like I've never sat down to watch it in an age that I remember it.
So it stars Gene Kelly, who I knew, that's like the one thing I knew about it, right?
He's a Pittsburgh guy too, right?
Oh, I mean, that's the thing that like...
Only Pittsburghers would know.
Yeah, he went to University of Pittsburgh, and he was born in East Liberty, Pittsburgh, yeah.
Yep, so he's a Pittsburgh boy, that's right.
I did not realize that the female lead is Debbie Reynolds. Do you know Debbie Reynolds by name?
I know the name. What is she from? And we were just talking about her. I was just talking
She's
about
Carrie Fisher's mom.
That's right. That's what you and I were just talking about her, yes.
Were we?
At some point, we did. We mentioned that.
The third person, so like it's kind of like eventually becomes a love story between the two of them, but there's this other guy. And the movie, which I had no idea what it was about, is like it came out in 1952, but it's about 1927 when Hollywood went from silent films to talkies, right?
Yes.
And it's the transition, and I was like, of course Hollywood loves this movie because it's Hollywood. It's a movie about Hollywood, right?
Yep.
Like, nothing Hollywood loves more than movies about itself.
That's true.
And so Gene Kelly and this guy, Don O'Connor, who play Don and Cosmo, are music guys who then Gene Kelly becomes its actor. And Don O'Connor, Cosmo, is his best friend or whatever. And this guy is like the most amazingly gifted physical comedian. He's got these great faces and like steals every scene. Like this guy that I probably had heard the name, but I don't know the name.
Yeah.
There were 2 or 3 songs from this movie that I had heard that I'm sure you know that everybody knows, but I didn't know they were from here. Like Make 'Em Laugh is this incredibly...
Yes, I know that.
Like it's like this entire like ballet of like physical like pratfalls and stuff like that, and Don O'Connor like steals the show. I feel like everybody who's out there, if they want to have seen Singin' in the Rain, has seen Singin' in the Rain.
True.
But if you have not, it's on HBO. It's on HBO Max now if you want to watch that. So
cool.
The last thing I want to share is that I was posting Tuesday's episode, Fate of the Furious, with Brian Silliman.
Yes.
Great episode, by the way. Long episode.
It was wonderful, though, dude. We had such a blast recording that one.
So I did not tell you this, but this blew my mind.
Go ahead.
So I'm posting it on Facebook, right? And I'm typing blah, 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 and I copied it over from Twitter and put it on Facebook. And I see that Facebook wants me to tag Brian. And I'm like, I'm not going to tag him. Like, that feels tacky or whatever. But it's like one mutual friend. And I was like, what, who do we know? Because he lives in New York, and I'm like, maybe I don't know, like maybe, but I'm not friends with like Walt Hickey on Facebook. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not friends with Chris Malika. Like, I don't know. And I look, and it's John Brooks, who was my original podcasting partner. He and I did Sports for Starters back in like 2013.
Oh.
He's got a new show on the podcast network, Hard to Believe. He's on a bunch of our Keanu episodes and, Tom Hanks episodes and Cruise Club episodes. And I was like, that's weird. And so I messaged John. And I'm just like, hey, so do you know Brian Silliman? He's like, oh yeah, we went to college together. I was like, what?
Wow.
And he's like, yeah, I haven't thought about him in a while or whatever, but like, yeah, he's a great guy. And I was like, that's weird. And he's like, how do you know Brian? I was like, oh, we just found him on Twitter. Just tweeting about the Fast and Furious, and we invited him on our show. He's like, oh, that's weird. So I messaged Brian on Twitter and just like, hey, thanks again for whatever. Turns out that you and John Brooks went to college together. He's like, oh, John Brooks, yeah, of course. He's like, he probably knows Chris then too. And so I go back to Facebook and I'm like, John, do you know Chris Malika? He's like, yeah, how do you know Chris Malika? I was like, we also found him on Twitter. And it was this whole like back and forth where it was like this weird small world of people.
That's so crazy, dude. That's
found
a great story.
both of them separately on Twitter. People tweeting about the Fast and Furious that we BD Wappied both of them. I know that we did Chris, and Brian thinks that we did him that way too. In reality, they were both people John knew from college. And
so you had like one degree of separation from them anyways.
I know, but like it's bananas to me.
Yeah.
That was the case. And I was just like, that's so weird and so cool.
That's a great story. I'm glad you kept that one.
I don't think there's anything else that I've done in the last week that I can remember. Anything of note? I don't think. Oh, I started rewatching the X-Files. That's what I did. A couple friends in my baseball league, my friend Bob, who I've talked about, and my friend Steve, aka Real. We are all kind of watching separately and kind of keeping pace with each other. So I'm a couple episodes in. But what might be my favorite show of all time? We are all watching that. I think it might be like their favorite shows of all time too. So we're all like very into it.
And you have like a group to like watch it with. It's been long enough. Spitball stuff. That's fun. That's a good time.
Yeah.
We've been rewatching. So there was this great, incredible. I'm just saying this because I'm pitching because I wanted it back. I want it to come back. So I'm trying to put it out into the universe. There was this amazing reality show that was on in like the 90s. Or like the early 2000s. And it was called The Mole. Do you remember this?
I've never seen it. I remember about it. I remember it. And I kind of vaguely know what it's about, but I couldn't describe it.
It's like as if The Amazing Race. So you get like 10 people and they're doing like competitions, right? But one of them is trying to fuck it up for the rest of them. And you don't know who that is.
Yes.
And that person's the mole. So it'll be like, oh, everybody has to bungee jump. And if everybody bungee jumps, you get $10,000. And so then there's always like 3 people that are like, I'm really scared of heights, or like, I'm too old. And then there's somebody like, I can't do it, like, I'm nauseous, or I'm not feeling good today. Did the mole do it? Is it one of them? You know what I mean? So we've been rewatching this, and we actually blew through all the...
Did they vote people off the island, essentially? I think it's because it's...
No, so you don't vote people off. You have to take a quiz at the end, and it's like, what color shirt was the mole wearing today? What did the mole do during this? And the person that answers the most questions wrong gets voted out.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so it's like, if you know who it is, you can stay in. But also the questions are like, essentially as hard as our quiz, to the point where it's like, what color shoes was the mole wearing today? So you like have a guess, but also it's kind of hard. But if it was like you obviously get them right?
Because I feel like that feels like, Mafia, the game Mafia.
It's
where
very
it feels
similar.
Like instead of doing a quiz, you should just vote someone off.
No, the mole makes it to the end. There's 3 people at the end.
Always.
The mole always makes it to the end.
Okay.
It's like there's 3 people at the end.
I guess it would have to if it was like if you're filling up TV hours. Because I was thinking like the mole wins if he makes it to the end. Everybody else wins if they vote the mole off. But like they also could get the mole you Kobe'd Minion that one day, which is a phrase that not gonna make any sense to anybody. And if you vote the mole off episode 1, you're like, I guess the mole has to make it to the end. Okay.
Yeah, that's why it's a quiz where it's like, what were you doing? And it's easy for the person. Yeah,
right,
they probably don't even take the quiz. It doesn't fucking matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
yep.
So we were watching that. We actually blew through there was only 4 American seasons of it. There was 2 regular and then 2 celebrity seasons. We watched started watching the Australian version of it.
Well, actually, that reminds me. So, like, MasterChef on Facebook, which is kind of the only reality show that I watch. My sister messaged me. She's like, "MasterChef is back tonight." I was like, "No, my TiVo's not recording it." I check Metacritic every week to see what new shows. Like, I'm like, there's zero, and also we're in quarantine. Like, there's no way, unless they like shot this like 8 months ago, which I don't think is how they do it. Like, it's not coming back. And she sends me a post on Facebook, and it was like a new season, or no, not, they didn't say, it was like a very specifically worded, like, we're ready to start a season of MasterChef tonight, or something like that.
Okay.
And everybody in the comments are just like, they're just re-airing last year. And people in the comments are like, what are you doing? But then other people are like, no, I like it. I didn't see last year, or I want to rewatch it. And I'm just like,
cool.
Weird. But one person had a comment that I was really smart. It's like, why not air like MasterChef Canada, which is not legal to stream. As far as I know, you can't legally stream it in the U.S. Like, there's no language barrier.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have connections with the rights. Like,
that's why we're watching the Mole Australia. It's not like there's like subtitles or anything. It's just like accent, and it's the same show. And if you don't know who the guy is, you're still watching the show. Like, the best part is like you trying to figure out who the guy is with everybody on the show. So
yeah,
it doesn't really matter who it is or who the host is or what's going on or what the challenges are. That's the fun part of the show for me. So
it just feels like such an easy, like a slam dunk for like content providers. Just be like, hey, we have this thing. It's the same language. You don't know the host, but like, who cares? Like, there's zero. Did you pay the acquisition costs? And if people don't watch it, you stop airing. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel like a.
You don't have to shoot it. It's not like it costs the money to make it. It's already produced.
Right.
That's a smart idea, man.
I think so. We've got a Patreon page in the show, toofast2forever.com. Mentioned it before. If you want early access to the conversations, the movie conversations, we also get swag and merchandise like stickers and eventually t-shirts. Bonus episodes eventually. Fast and Furious Minute Document, Minute Quiz. Your choice of what we watch in future laps. toofast2forever.com. Shout out to Cassie Wilson, Jake Freer, Ben Milliman, Nick Burris, Alex Elman, Justin Kleinman, Brian Rodriguez of High School Slumber Party, Haley Gerbies, Wes Hampton, Christian Larson, and Jerry Robinson for supporting us at the $5 level or above. Thank you all so much.
Yeah, thank you.
We also have email address on the show, family@cageclub.me. And Joe, I was saying before, we haven't really recorded in a week. We got a bunch of emails here. Let's get into it.
Get into it. Well, that's funny because last time we didn't have any, so this time.
Yes.
And then it's like we didn't have any, and then we waited like 2 episodes worth of recordings to.
Yep. Yeah. So I think we got like 9.
Okay, cool.
I don't think that any are wildly long, but we'll find out.
We'll see.
First up from Wells Lamont, who did join us for the watch-along party.
Thanks, brother. I'm glad you always crack me up. I'm glad that you came too.
Subject line, tired of the bullshit, I'm on my way back. Longtime bros, I'm 12 episodes behind, so instead of waiting for things to go back to normal, I'm rocking with you guys at the house. So I'm going to be done in this next week or so, catching up, and then I'll be back on track and ready for business. Because I thought I was going to LA this week, and I was going to knock them all out for that, but it got canceled, and I'm tired of waiting. I miss it, and I need it. Give me a little more time, and I'll be ready.
Well, I'm glad that you missed it, instead of just completely forgetting it. He said he listened to a couple when we talked to him, so hopefully he's caught up by now.
I know that friend of the show and patron of the show, Melissa Lynham, is also catching up. She's like giving me updates. She's like, I'm on episode 88, and I was like, cool, we're recording episode 99. Like, there's a while to go. They're not getting shorter.
They're not. They're definitely not.
Wells goes on, I'm listening now while writing this. I can't talk about anything specific because I'm too far behind. I'm taking it as a loss and bad judgment on my part. Haha.
Taking that L. That's it.
I go back to work in July, so that's too long to wait. That's insane. I'm here for the long haul. You won't be getting rid of me if you were hoping so. Ha ha ha. Okay, my bro sips. Talk to you soon. Peace.
Thanks, Wells, for writing in. I appreciate it, brother. I'm glad that you're back. I'm glad that we got to talk to you. So, Thank you.
Next email from Alex Ellenin. Subject line, you like clocks, Joey?
Oh.
Quick clock story.
Wait, what? Wait. Go back to that first line.
Quick clock story.
God, I just love the quick story about. Okay, never mind.
Quick clock story.
Yeah.
One day, I found a reverse clock on Amazon. My girlfriend said she hated it because it would confuse her. So obviously, I bought it. Even put it up in the living room, so it's the primary clock in the house.
What's a reverse clock?
I think it goes in reverse. I think that instead of going clockwise, it probably goes counterclockwise.
Oh my god.
So the 11 o'clock is probably where the 1 o'clock is.
Oh god, that's so awesome.
He says, well, she was right because we have no problem telling time on it. However, normal clocks now cause a problem for us. Can't trust them at all.
Oh god. And also, like, when somebody's like clockwise, he's like, yeah. And you're like,
oh, that's weird. Yeah, that's weird. But yeah.
Right? You'd have to, like, think in your brain and you wouldn't know which way it actually goes. Oh, yeah, this is very strange. Oh
Yeah.
God, my brain doesn't like it at all. Yeah, you just broke the you just broke the matrix. Like you're out, man.
I like it. Next email from Jenny McMullen. Subject line Patreon vote.
What up, Jenny? How are you doing, lady? Thanks for joining the birthday party too. Thank you.
She was there. Yes, yes, yes. And Alex was there too. We are 3 for 3
Alex
now
is there
so
too.
far.
Yeah.
She says, "Hello guys. I've never gotten Patreon to work on my phone, so I'm emailing my vote. I vote for keep it fresh. So that means 8 for that and 0 for keep things the way they are.
Pretty much unanimous, dude. That's a strong majority, I think.
So you're thinking of recording your intros closer to the release date, like Mark Maron does? Sounds like a great idea. And thanks for asking, later, Jenny."
Thanks for the input, Jenny. I appreciate it. Yeah, I was kind of concerned, like, you know, and I obviously Joey pitched it and we were talking about it. And I was like, what does everybody else think? Because that's pretty much all that matters here. So you guys seem to be happy with it. I'm happy with it. That works for me.
Our next email from Jason Dickinson. Actually, he's been sending us a couple messages. First off, Happy Pride Month, Jason.
Happy Pride Month, Jason.
About that. Very cool.
Yes.
But he sent this one, The Fate of the Furious, Hobbs and Shaw, F9. He says, if you were wondering when Hobbs and Shaw takes place in the fast timeline, this will blow your mind. Hobbs and Shaw set between the events of Fate of the Furious and F9.
Oh.
So it's a separate timeline, we think, kind of, because it's, Dom's not in it, but it makes sense that chronologically it still tracks, right?
That's what I would assume that it would have taken place. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
It would kind of come between those two. Maybe simultaneously. Maybe it just happens while both are happening. Because we don't know how long the movies really last. And
it's true. Well, we know it can't really take place during Fate because they're both involved in Fate.
Exactly. So it has to be after Fate, but yeah.
Our next email from another person who was at the watch party, somebody named Brian Rodriguez, high school slumber party at gmail.com.
Well, he asked us for the official Cage Club email.
He does.
So.
I know that he listens, and I don't know why he asked about that. I also do want to say that, in the watch party, not to bust balls, but Mike Manzi kept what are you talking about? I'm like, Mike, you got to listen to the show, man. We developed the whole language, a whole rapport here.
Yeah.
Subject line from Brian, Eagle Moss. He
Moss.
says, "Hey, Joe and Joey, Brian Rodriguez here, host of High School Slumber Party and part owner of Too Fast, Too Forever since I'm a faithful patron. Hope you're doing well. Not sure if someone else has brought this up on the pod yet, but I figured I'd mention it. Okay. I listen to some toy collecting podcasts in my free time." He says, "Shout out to the Major Wrestling Figure podcast. I want to know if you guys were familiar with the Build subscriptions from the toy company Eagle Moss. I've included some links here.
I'm not. Basically,
it's a subscription service that sends you a couple parts every week, and over time, you build 1/8 size models of famous cars. Models are super legit. You don't get an engine. You have to build the engine with the scale engine parts they give you. In addition to the parts you get, Eagle Moss sends you an official magazine with cool facts on the subject matter. For example, current project is the Echo 1 from Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
So each week, you get parts and a cool Ghostbusters magazine. The last project before the Ecto 1 was the DeLorean from Back to the Future.
Okay.
Usually about 1,000 parts and take a year or so to build, but when you're done, you have a priceless collectible.
That is so cool.
He says, I'd be shocked if one of your great fans haven't brought this to your attention yet. And I think I have a memory of it, but I might be a false memory, not sure. Having a lot of Letty moments these days. I don't think anybody has. I don't think I've heard of this.
No, this is so cool.
He says, but I figured on the off chance they didn't, I'd point it out to you and ask the obvious question. If Eagle Moss decides to do a Fast and Furious subscription next, would you like it to be Dom's Charger, Brian's Skyline, or something else?
Because we got the Lego Dom's Charger, I would like it to be Brian's Skyline or Brian's Supra. But that's just me, because we had the Lego one. Any of these.
I feel like you kind of, I agree with that, but I also feel like you have to start with the Charger, I think.
I think so, too. I'm saying personally, he asked us, what would we want? So that's what I'm thinking. This is really cool, dude. I have to get one of these for Rachel. This is awesome. I wonder how much it costs.
There's prices in there. I don't know. I'm wondering if Brian subscribes to this. Brian, please keep us in the loop, or anybody keep us in the loop. This also feels like something that Wes would love.
Yeah, I think he would too. It's yeah, this is really, really cool. But all the prices on here say that $195, right? Are you seeing that too? And I don't know how true that is. Is it $195 a week for whatever?
Well, there's a risk-free trial offer is $2. After your first shipment, get 4 new issues, parts, and magazines to your door each month for $10.90 plus $2.45 shipping per issue.
Okay. Do you see what the next one is?
Well, I'm just trying to figure out if that means it's $10.90 plus $2.45 times 4, or if it's $10.90 plus $2.45 times 4. You know what I mean? Is it $10.90 plus $10 shipping, or is it $12? Is it $50 a month?
$50 a month and it takes a year? You get one a week.
I don't want to say it's a racket because it's a brilliant idea, but they're like, hey, how can we make sure that people never stop subscribing?
It's a way
you're
to do
basically
it.
saying, I'm going to pay, say it's $20 a month, right? I'm going to pay $240 for this car, but I'm just spreading it out over 12 months, essentially,
like a payment plan, yeah. But did you
What's
see what the new
one?
car is?
Coming soon?
Coming soon
Eleanor.
yes.
Ooh, shit.
I know. The books and stuff are really cool. I like this idea, man. And these cars look cool. Like, they do, like, a really good job on them. Damn, yeah, he has, like, fucking everything in this thing. Like, there's, like, a tack and, like, yeah.
Cool.
This is, like, a very detailed build kit.
He says, thanks for reading and looking forward to my next contractually obligated guest spot, Brian.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for writing in.
Our next email is from Jerry. He sent a car picture, so we're going to do that later.
Oh.
And then the next, he also sent in a picture, and Jerry was also at the watch party, and subject line is watch party.
What up, Jerry? Thanks for coming to the watch party, bud.
He says, hey guys, the watch party was awesome, Joe too. Hope you had a good birthday. I enjoyed it and laughed so hard.
Yeah, I'm glad that you guys get some chuckles in there. It's always good to hear you guys laugh. We obviously don't hear you laugh when we're recording, so I just have to pretend like Joey laughs at my jokes, and hearing you actually laugh at them in person is a lot better than him pretending to laugh at my jokes. So
I kind of want to laugh, but I also don't want to. So I'll let that one. I had to take care of a few things, that's why I had to bail a little early, but everything's all good. On another note, I watched Hobbs and Shaw on Sunday after the 90 Day Fiancé tell-all, and I enjoyed it.
Ugh.
On my rankings, I would slide it around 4 or 5 because of the people portraying it. On episode 98, when your guest was explaining the either or, I was following and put my input on how I would see myself. This is fascinating. All right, so He says, more Brian, because there's no way I'll be an alpha like Dom.
Yeah.
I'm more Mia, because she's the caring person of the family.
She is. She's the cornerstone. We say this all the time. She is.
I'm more Roman. I love cracking jokes to lighten the mood.
Same.
I'm more Shaw, because he's badass but kind of classy with how he dresses, and I'm not ripped like The Rock.
Oh, yeah. Not many of us are The Rock, brother. I get it.
He says, I'm more imports. I love both, but I love how the design's going on with the body of the cars.
True, I like imports too. Thank you, brother.
Belgian ale or Corona, I can never say no to a Corona, especially at a baseball game, but there are times where I'm at dinner with my friends, or when I'm with my friends for dinner, and would love a tall Blue Moon Belgian white ale, and it's good.
Dude, I love Blue Moon. We've chased a lot of beers, and all the good brewers that brew, like, you know, the most sought-after beers right now, if you ask them what their favorite beer is to drink, or like what beer like really like blew their minds, it's always Sierra Nevada, like the pale ale.
Really?
I swear to God, I've heard this from like 20 brewers at this point, that they're like, yeah, dude, the first time I had a Sierra Nevada, like, that was it. And they're like, and like, you still drink Sierra Nevada? They're like, all the time. Like, I always keep a 20 in my house, or like a 24 pack in my house. I also love Blue Moon, and I think it's delightful. And like when it's warm out and stuff like that, you're just like, oh, like a nice Blue Moon to sip on. Excellent.
Fascinating. Yeah, Blue Moon is really good. Sierra Nevada I like. I mean, I really like both. I mean,
they all love it.
Yeah, I would never go out of my way to order either of those, but like if I was at a barbecue and they were both in like the like I feel like when you're at a barbecue and there's like a bucket of beer, even though I'm not like a real snob, but it's just like there's like a real I don't know what I'm about to find in here, but if I see Sierra Nevada, I'd be like, oh, that's a nice win.
Solid.
That's not like, oh, that's my favorite beer.
Yeah, I know, dude. That's what I was saying. I was mind blown by it. But like I've heard a lot of like brewers say this, and it's crazy to me every time I hear it. It was like one of the first pale ales to come out to have like a little bit of like IPA bite to it, right? So like they just think of that. So yeah.
It says if I were pulling a job, I'd be the designer. I just need my headphones, music, and some time. I'll make some sexy shit for the job.
Ooh.
For a distraction song, I can do Start to Finish, Wanna Be Startin' Something by Michael Jackson.
Oh, I don't think we've ever gotten any Michael Jacksons before, huh?
I don't think so.
That's always a good choice. Yeah, like you could do ABC or Thriller.
Double checking here. I don't think that we have. No, I think it's a new territory.
Yeah, I love these answers.
He says red or black, I'd go with black, and I first heard it from one of my favorite movies, Passenger 57. And when I would gamble and be down to my last $20, I'd throw it on black. He says, I recommend watching it just in case you haven't, 90s action movie. Well, we talk about it a lot on here because people always, like, that's why people pick black, right? Because it's like, I heard Wesley Snipes say it that one time.
Yep, exactly.
Also, I've talked about Passenger 57 because it is a Christian Larson and crew favorite, because on the VHS for that, there is the trailer for Street Night, which is the 10 film starring Jeff Speakman. So, like, almost every time we hung out, we would not watch Passenger 57, but we would watch the trailer for Street Night, because it was before it was on YouTube. So we're like, this is the place we have to watch it here.
That's awesome.
I would drive out of a plane because I feel like I would enjoy the adrenaline rush more, and as long as I would have another set of pants ready before I got out of the car, since I'll more than likely piss my pants. He just says, keeping it real.
It's true. I'll be petrified, dude. I'm not good with heights. I'm just bad.
At first you were afraid you were petrified?
Yeah, You could
We
sing
have
that
that on
song
here.
too. We haven't had that, right?
I Will Survive? Yeah, we have that. Dan Hayden
Okay.
said I Will Survive.
Okay.
That's why it was in my brain, because I just saw it above.
Okay.
My last stunt, I'll go with fiery explosion, just not to suffer and literally go out with a bang.
Yeah.
Oil is one syllable.
Oil.
Do not like that.
It's
I've lost
true.
all momentum there.
You did.
I never had Whataburger, so I'll choose In-N-Out, since I have 2 locations within a 5-minute drive.
Oh.
FYI, the city I live in is called Daly City, directly south of San Francisco.
Oh,
They
nice.
have a really bad habit of adding 2 on almost every store, or 2 of almost every store, fast food spots here. So I guess that's why there's 2.
One, and then 5 minutes later, you get another one right next to it.
Did we talk about on here? I did not know this, but Subway does not do market research for where to put locations. It just finds a McDonald's and puts one within like a mile of it.
Subway's based in Connecticut, and I actually have friends that work for Subway Corporate.
That's what I've heard. I don't know for sure that that's true, but it makes sense because like every time you see
makes
McDonald's, like
so sense.
when you're
So
driving
much
on a
sense.
highway, right, and there's all
Yep.
turnoffs, it's like there's always a McDonald's, there's always a Wendy's, there's always a Subway, and there's always like a regional something or other, right?
Yep.
And like, but every time, from what I've heard, Subway does not be like where do people need sandwiches? It's like, oh, there's a new McDonald's there, we don't have a Subway there. Build a Subway near there.
It's genius. It's like, why would you spend the money to do the market research when you could just look at where the McDonald's are in Google Maps?
Yeah.
I fucking love it. That's so that the guy who discovered that should get a raise.
I mean, he should get paid whatever like the research department should have gotten paid, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, oh, like, dude, well, we're thinking about putting in a research department. He's like, why don't you just put them next to McDonald's, and we don't even need that whole fucking department. You're like, down. That works
Yeah.
for me, man.
He says I would go The Dark Knight, which yes.
Yeah.
Food all over the place would mean to me either like a huge buffet style or a massive, massive food fight, yet you can still sit and eat.
I like it. Buffet seems like it makes sense.
No knees would be like Stubbs, literally no knees, or a very promiscuous woman.
That's wildly different. Those are 2 completely different ends of the spectrums. But I want to know why no knees means you're promiscuous. What does the knee have to do with promiscuity?
I don't know. Says my favorite character would be Tej. I'd say he has the most transformation from garage head to master hacker.
Yeah, that's true. He does have a huge character arc.
My favorite car movie would be Need for Speed. I loved all the cars in it, bringing from generations back to the current car generation.
The Jesse Pinkman one?
I think so.
We were watching it. It was on like USA or something. Actually, probably Saturday before we had the watch party. It was on TV.
Interesting. That'll be on our first go round whenever we do a modern car lap movie.
Yeah,
like there's
exactly.
a bunch of ones that we want to do, but that is for sure going to be in the first batch.
I agree.
So sooner rather than later, but not soon.
Yep.
Favorite Barbie dream car would be an all-black Lamborghini Urus, U-R-U-S.
Yeah, that's the truck. That's the SUV
Okay.
one. Yeah, they're
Because
pretty
I
new.
love how it looks and being very different.
They're very cool. I think it's very, very cool.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's kind of got like a sort of a Tesla sort of kind of vibe, but like longer and like more spaceshipy.
Yeah.
Whoa, MSRP 207K. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they're not.
641 horsepower. Okay. 12 miles per gallon city, 17 highway. Cool. Very cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be fast, though. I saw
Yeah.
this really cool video of them souping one up. That'd be cool to have. I would like one, but I don't have $270,000 to...
Just 207. You're
207. I was
closer than you
close.
thought. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, that makes it a little bit more palatable.
Now you can do it. Yeah. Says favorite stunt scene within the franchise would be the first race in 4. Brings everything back, but with updated cars. Brian has the lead and then loses last second. I guess that's when they're racing to join Braga's crew. Campos' crew.
That makes sense.
Says that's all I have this time. Be fast and safe, guys. Well, thank you, Jerry, for writing in. That's a very cool email.
Thank you, Jerry, for writing in. Thank you for coming to the watch party. Glad that you had fun, brother.
Next email from Jake Freer. No subject. He just says, hey guys, felt bad because I haven't written in for a while. In your last episode, you said there were no emails, so I thought I'd write in.
Well, thank you, Jake, for writing in, thinking of us. We appreciate it. Glad you're listening.
He says, I'm listening to a podcast called The Wire, Way Down in the Hole. And on the latest app, they said their favorite scene from the whole series. Now, I know you guys have both seen it, so I was interested to know your favorite scene from the series, which I think you actually just talked about.
Oh, we did.
One of your favorites was the fuck scene, right?
Fuck. Favorite scene from The Wire.
He says his favorite, which it might be one of yours.
What is
might
it?
be
Go ahead,
yours.
tell me his.
His is D'Angelo yelling at Stringer, where the fuck is Wallace?
See, okay, so I was going to say, like, one of the most memorable to me.
If you have not seen The Wire yet, spoilers are inbound in the next
yes,
minute
just
or so.
skip ahead for a minute. One of the most memorable scenes to me, but not one of my favorites, is when in the first season when Bodhi and Pooh go and kill Wallace, and like that fucks me up. But it's not one of my favorites. One of my favorite scenes and the most enjoyable that cracks me up every time I see it, at the beginning of season 4, the guy's like, I want to go like interview 16-year-olds so like we can reform them, and they're like, really, 16-year-olds? And they like put him in this room with a 16-year-old. He's like, fuck you, and just like spits in the dude's face, and he's like, okay, maybe 12 sounds better, you know, like they're so hard by 16 that you just petrified, like the kids. Do you remember this scene?
Vaguely. I've only seen the show once, and that's what I was going to say, that like I don't have vivid memories of a lot. I think one of my favorite scenes, and I might be conflating two, is by the end. I love the transformation of Bodhi, because Bodhi goes from being like just like street level thug to like kind of like, he's not running the game, but like he's
up
smart.
there.
Like you can see growth, right? You can see him being smarter, just not just how to like survive, but like how the world works. And I think I might be again conflating two scenes, but I feel like there's a conversation he has, again, spoiler, right before he dies, where like it feels like he's kind of figured things out, right? But there's also like his entraisement line where he realizes that like the cops are trying to fuck with him. It's like, man, is that entraisement? Like just the Bodhi growth. Not my favorite character, but I love Bodhi's growth from being just a kid to like being a man in the course of a handful of seasons, right? So that's one of my favorites.
Bodhi's definitely one of my favorite characters. The entraisement line is really when they get arrested for Hamsterdam, and he's like, you can't tell us to go there and deal drugs and then arrest us for it. That's entraisement. And then McNulty's just like dying. Yeah, he's like, he called entrapment, bro. He got it. He's out. Like, he's right. Kid's right.
Jake says, I've been falling behind with the podcast because of my new job. I'm not allowed to have headphones.
Oh, sorry, bud.
I found a way around it, so I'm back on track now. Well, I mean...
Don't get fired because
of the podcast,
but thanks for listening. We appreciate it.
Glad you're listening. Yep. He says, I was going to join the watch party, but some other plans got in the way, unfortunately. Anyway, hope you guys are staying safe over there. Looking forward to the new episodes. Jake.
Thank you, Jake, for writing in, brother. It's all good, man. Don't worry. You didn't miss anything, but we had a good time and hope that you're at the next one.
Next email, we have two more, both from Justin Kleiman. First up, Sergeant Bilkins. Says, if you can find my rankings from way back when, I'm moving too fast from third to first. I love this movie.
Too fast? All the way up?
Justin Kleiman. So he has 3. That means it drops Fast 5, down 1. It drops Fast and Furious 6, down 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That works for me, man.
Says, I want more Bilkins. I want a Tej Roman spin-off with lots of Bilkins. Hashtag justice for Bilkins.
That's really cool. That would be a fun one, wouldn't it?
I'd watch it.
I would love it. It would be a lot of fun.
And then Justin's second email is candles. Not sure if this has come up, but in regards to all of the candles in Dom's house, while my friends and I were watching Point Break a few nights ago, I noticed during the house party scene, the house has a ton of candles. Perhaps it was an homage.
I would have to guess it is. I mean, there's so much else that they stole from Point Break. I really think that the candles are probably an homage.
He sends a link. I'm going to take a look. I'm going to send this link to you. And then at the end, in the end where it's him and Tyler, like there's all sorts of candles.
Getting to the end, hold on.
Yeah, like you go to like
yeah.
Right?
There's like 6 or 7 candles on this mantle. Oh yeah.
I mean, there's the other possibility that just candles are a very 90s thing.
And candles all over the place. Candles in California at the time.
Yeah.
Maybe. Also, I could definitely see them being like, there's so much else from Point Break in here that like candles, like that's easy to be like, oh yeah, we did that too.
That's all the emails for today. Family@cageclub.me. Thank you all for
thanks guys for writing in.
For filling up that old mailbag. We've got the next episode. So again, these are going to be more timely. So if you email in, you're going to hear it like on the next episode, basically. I mean, that's not a hard and fast rule, but it's not going to be like 3 episodes later. It's going to be 1 or maybe 2, but it's going to be much closer.
Yeah.
Family@cageclub.me.
It'll be much, much closer, for sure. Yeah.
All right, Joe, on the streets, Fast and Furious news. Did you hear the big news? Sad news.
What was the sad news?
Jordana Brewster is getting a divorce.
I did. Jason Dickinson sent this to us. Amicably split. That's what it was.
A conscious uncoupling.
But they said they're going to co-parent. It's like a little bit, hopefully she goes more Jenna Dewan than Channing Tatum in this and comes out all right.
Oh boy. Maybe. Well, we will find out. Any other news that you have seen in the last week? Because it's been a week. I mean, we talked about The Rock's 8-minute Where Are You post, which is powerful.
Yes. I have one. Matt sent it to me. I'm trying to find it.
While you look for that, I'm going to bring up, we talked about this with Brian Silliman, but we did not actually go in depth on it. Dead in 60 seconds, ranking the Fast and Furious stunts by how quickly I would die.
Yes. Oh, cool. Yeah. Talk about Brian's article. That's really smart.
So it's on Sci-Fi Wire. It starts out by saying, "Death will come to us all, but it will come fast and furious to someone like me if I ever attempt any of the crazy stunts from the Fast and Furious franchise. Every single thing in these movies is too fast and too furious for me, but some would send me to an even quicker car-wrapped death than others." He goes on the intro, then ranking up from the bottom up. Basically, the worst one, or not the worst one, how do I want to say this? The safest one for him is any attempt to drift in Tokyo Drift. And the result, like he does like a write-up about it, and then he says, "Result, failure is guaranteed, and death would not be far behind. Let's be nice and say I'd be dead within a minute of the attempt." So this is saying the safest thing for him to do, he will be dead within a minute.
Yeah.
So that does not bode well.
No.
So then from there, number 8 is jumping the car onto the boat in 2. 7 is boarding the truck in the first one. I think jacking the truck.
Yeah.
Number 6 is tunnel racing in the 4th movie. So he did one for each movie.
Yeah.
Number 5 was diving off the cliff in Fast 5. Number 4 was the fight scene on the plane on the world's longest runway in 6.
Yeah.
Number 3 was trying to fight Black Superman in Hobbs and Shaw.
Okay.
Number 2 was the ice carpades in the Fate of the Furious. And then number 1 was Hallelujah, It's Raining Cars in Furious 7. And for that one he says, "Honestly, if I was offered all the things I just mentioned, a nice dinner with Letty, financial security for life, Star Wars, I'd probably go for it. I'd be dead in a negative amount of time, but I'd go for it anyway because I'm greedy like that and I know it, and I will not let myself take the chance. Instead, I'll find a way to time travel back to my own birth and change my own history so this weird meta moment never comes to pass. I'll avoid this plane car driving stunt and all of this ice driving, submarine fighting, family's ridiculous death tempting schemes, and no offer would be ever able to convince me otherwise. I would live."
Yeah.
Check out if you want to read all of his write-ups, all of his descriptions of the stunt, why he would die, how quickly he would die, dead in 60 seconds, ranking the Fast and Furious stunts by how quickly I would die.
Yes. That was an awesome article by Brian, by the way. I read it, and it was a lot of fun. I found the thing that Matt sent me, and it's from 2 days ago. It's Paul Walker's manager is now suing the company over the Fast and Furious and other movies. Paul Walker's manager, Matt Luber, is suing the company Vagrant Inc. over commissions he feels he's owed. It comes down to the fact that that the company functioned as a loan out company, and they were loaning out Paul Walker and other artists that he was his manager, he would loan him out to Vagrant, and they would kind of book his stuff. They stopped paying him the royalties for Fast and the Furious. He says that they owe him a bunch of money, and he's suing them, and they're saying that this could be really interesting because the dispute might make it hard for Paul Walker's character to come back in Fast and the Furious, and we've heard all these rumors lately that Paul Walker will be remembered in Fast and the Furious somehow.
It feels like, and I don't want to speak ill of a family, that there's I don't know if it's money problems, but I get wanting to be paid what you're owed, but let his memory be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we've talked about this. I mean, I'm on the side of that. I really don't want to see Paul Walker come back in these.
Agreed.
I feel like we should just let him just be. It seems like his family has different plans, and we watched the documentary on Paul Walker. It felt kind of strange to me, maybe his family was in some kind of money troubles and wanted money somehow. I hope that's not the case. It'll be interesting to see how they do this. But this is cool that there's there might be legal implications to them not being able to do it. You know what I mean? Whether they want to or not, we might not get him back just because of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool news from Cinema Blend. I don't know how reliable they are, but
I used to read Cinema Blend, I think. I think they're okay. I wouldn't say they're as great. I think they're probably good, but I think they're also verging on clickbait sometimes. So, I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah, this one seems like a real story. They had names and stuff, so...
Yeah. Any other news that you have found? Because I don't think there's any that are for me. Okay, cool. So then the only other thing to do this minute, or this episode, this intro, whatever we want to say, is the Fast and Furious minute 66. We've got at least two different titles. So either, I feel like we have to go with one just based on how we framed this show, but the one I called it was, There's All Kinds of Family, Brian.
Yes.
About another career.
It's Toretto, Brian. It always has been Toretto. Tran and Hector, they're just fumes.
Well, I know you've been lying to me. My question is this. Have you been lying to yourself because you can't see past Mia? He
he won't go back to prison.
Well, that's a choice he's going to have to make. There's all kinds of family, Brian. And that's a choice you're going to have to make.
So in this minute, we see Bilkins finish giving Brian his talking to, and Brian and Tanner leave. Tanner then tells Brian what he already knows, the thief is Toretto. Tanner leaves Brian with some heavy questions to ponder. The big takeaway, I think, for me, there's not a lot that happens. There's great quotes. There are iconic quotes, as you just heard. Our tagline, there's all kinds of family. We chose this one. There's all kinds of family, Brian. Like, this is where it came from.
It's funny because you used that one. I like it, but that's in this speech alone. Like, whenever I think about this speech, I always think of, it's Toretto, Brian. It always has been
that's
Toretto.
what I was going to do. But what's interesting, and interesting is probably the wrong word, is that your line reading, you're adding more emotion to the line than Tanner actually delivers it with. He just says, like, it's always been Toretto. Like, it's just like a fact. You add, like, come on, you know it, man. But, like, he's, like, the way that he delivers, like,
yes.
This is, like, I'm basically saying you're giving a better line reading, I think, than Tanner does. The weight, the emotion, like, the resonance.
If you add a little bit of pauses, it, like, says, like, come on, you idiot. Like, it always has been Toretto. He delivers it like a fact. You're right.
I had that exact thought, because I was like, I know that you love that line, but I feel like, for the two reasons, number one, this is our tagline, but number two, the fact that, like, the way that you say it has more weight, it feels, than Tanner gives it. I'm like, I don't know that we can do. I mean, it could be both.
I wasn't even talking about the title of this minute. I was talking just in general. Like, when you picked the There's All Kinds of Family, we chose this one tagline. It's always funny to me because when I remember the scene, the line that I remember is that scene first. I love the minute title. Totally fine.
The only other real visible note I have here is that Brian kind of walks, it looks like he's going to walk into the pool.
What was the Happy Gilmore, like, or Billy Madison, like, when the principal just, like, walks out and just, like, falls face first into the pool. It's in, like, a lot of things, but that's what it reminded me of. Brian should have just fell face first into the pool, like, oh.
Because, like, we can't see from this camera angle that there are steps down into the pool. He just, like, basically walks off the cliff, but it's just, like, a step, and then he does it again, it's just another step, and he's still not in the water, because he's wearing shoes. It's not like he took his shoes off, he's, like, bathing, putting his bare feet in there.
Yeah.
He's, like, walking down. But again, we've talked about this before, talking about it again now, Brian's saying he won't go back to prison. It's like, Dom says that too, but he's about to. At the end of 4, beginning of 5, he's about to go back to prison. He's just like, yeah.
Yeah. That's what happens, I guess.
So the only real thing of note, I think, in this minute that is maybe new, although we have seen it back in minute 36, we get another view of the wall of photos that's visible by the entrance. And I grabbed a screenshot.
Yes.
It's going to be linked in the Fast and Furious Minute document if you want to take a look. But you found some cool little tidbits of things that either you see for sure or that might be possibly on the wall.
Yeah, so, we're looking through the glass doors and onto this wall, and it's in the background. It's not really in focus. It was kind of hard for me to see, but I found some interesting things. There's a giant picture of Mia that looks like it could be either, like, one of her, like, acting, like, headshots that she would, like, include in her, like, acting portfolio. Do you see which one I'm talking about?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. It looks like it's clearly, like, either, like, her, like, senior graduation photo or, like, something that's, like, not. This isn't a candid. Like, they got this from her, and it's, like, an 8x10, like, perfect size picture. There's some cars in there. You see Jesse's Jetta a few times, possibly Mia's Acura Integra there. And then they have all of Tran's crew there, which I find very strange, right? Doesn't it look like there's like a Johnny Tran mugshot, which has to be super fresh?
I mean, it could have been a previous arrest.
Okay, yeah. Well, we don't think that he's really in trouble, like, with the law.
Because, like, we have a mugshot of Dom.
But Dom beat the guy with the wrench, so, yeah.
But we have a mugshot of Letty that you point out.
It's
there's
possibly
a bunch of
Letty.
here.
It's possibly Letty.
Well, it feels like on the right... Actually, it looks like there's a picture. It looks like Twinkie, but it's not Twinkie. I don't know who that is with the
I
backwards
know, I
baseball
thought
cap.
it too. And you know what? And I was watching The Wire, and we've been talking about Bodie, but I thought it was Bodie from... Doesn't it look like a picture of just, like, Bodie sitting on the stoop?
It kind of looks like Fat Bodie or Fat Twinkie.
Yeah. There's some other guy. And I wish it would have been a picture of Tyrese sitting there as, like, a little hint of Too Fast, but it's not.
Yeah, but they have no idea that they're going to cast Tyrese.
No, they don't. Or they were going to make another one of these movies, so. The coolest thing, though, that we see mugshots of Ted. Definitively.
In with the Tran crew.
With the Tran crew. But he gets 2 mugshots. He gets a side and a front profile.
Above and below, yep. And then we also have a picture. It looks like there's a picture of Harry, too.
Oh, is there? Is that who that is?
It looks like the bowling shirt, like the black shirt.
Yeah, I was thinking it might have been.
I think that's Harry.
That makes sense. Yeah, that might have been that might have been it.
Because we've seen him wear that kind of shirt.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Anything else of note in this minute? I mean, next minute, I again, the way that we're recording now, I looked ahead because in the preview of the writing things, and next minute, spoilers, but we're going to get Ferrari. So next minute's a big minute. We're going to get Neptune's Net shortly.
It's a big minute, yeah.
But before we get there, is there anything else of note in minute 66?
It's a great minute. I actually watched it a bunch of extra times for fun, and I told you this because I just love this minute. I love that delivery of the line. As you say now, I add more inflection to it, but it's very like a pivotal moment of the movie that they tell you who the villain is in the middle of the movie, and everybody knows it now, you know? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. The only trivia question I could come up with, and I don't know if you like this one, I don't know if you have a different one in mind, but how does Tanner describe Tran and Hector? He says they're fumes.
I have one. In this scene, what name is not said? And they say Tran, they say Brian. It
says Toretto, Brian,
Hector,
Tran, Hector, Mia.
Dom would be the name not said.
What's tricky about that is he says Toretto. He does refer to Dom. So it's not, I don't think we could say name. We would have to say like, what word is not said, but I feel like it's a delicate balance because they're talking about Dom and they call him Toretto. It's not like they're not saying his name. They're just
what
not saying
name is not said. They don't say Dom.
In terms of like legality, trying to hold it up to Mona Lisa veto in court. That's my benchmark for this. I think you have to word it in a careful way. Like I like the question. It's a tricky thing because I don't love my question. I'm not like dead set on my question. I just wrote that down.
That's what I was saying because you put Tran, you put Hector, you put Brian, Mia, because those are the names that he refers to.
But I just think that you can't say what name is not said when he says Toretto.
But he doesn't say Dom.
I know, but it's one name. It's not like they're separate names.
It's not one name. He doesn't say Dominic Toretto.
But he's still talking about. I think that's a question that people get pissed about. That's all I'm saying.
But he doesn't say Dom.
So it feels nitpicky in a way, and I think we could ask the question in a way, but I feel like the way that we're trying to word it feels like it's a bullshit question, kind of. And I just want to hold it up that like people won't get pissy. Well, no, they do talk about Toretto. It's like, well, maybe they don't say Dom. You know what I mean?
They say Toretto, but not Dom.
I know, and I just don't think there's enough of a distinction there in the way that you're wording it.
So then word it better for me.
I'm just saying, what word do they not say?
What word is not said?
Because I feel like if you said, who is not named or what name is not said.
No, who is not named is wrong. That one I would agree with you on. I think what name is not said is different.
The way that I'm hearing your question is the same way that you're hearing that question that I just said. I think that no one would say Dom, and that's the right answer. I think everyone would say like Mia or Hector. It just feels like a question that's worded in a way to trick people.
That's the whole point of this quiz, dude.
I don't think it is. I think it's just to have very obscure facts.
And that's a very obscure fact. The thing is with the dialogue here, like everything, like I think the fumes one is very easy.
I don't think the fumes question is easy. I mean, I don't know. I don't remember ever hearing they're just fumes before.
I mean, what word is not said is like, then it could be like the, and.
Well, those aren't options though.
Yeah, I know, but that just sounds stupid.
I mean, there's not a lot that happens in the scene, which is the difficult thing.
Exactly.
I like the idea of your question, but I just don't want it to be one that people get pissy about. That's all I'm thinking.
I don't mind people getting pissy about the questions, because like there's a right and wrong answer to that one. That's like not even debatable. Like he just doesn't say Dom. Yeah, scrap it. That's fine.
Any other thoughts about this minute or any of the intro? Do you want to wrap up and go talk about Smokey and the Bandit?
No, I think we can wrap up and talk about Smokey and the Bandit. I like this minute, though. I really like this minute. This is one of my favorite ones, so.
It's annoying. It's frustrating that like it's such a good minute with like nothing happening for us to actually like micro analyze and put in the thing.
Like in like the pool, like there's nothing even in the pool or like written on the side of the pool, like 2 feet or something, whatever, like any of
Because we also can't read Brian's shirt, I don't think, and that's not something that, whatever. But yeah, let's take a break, come back and talk about Smokey and the Bandit.
Welcome back to Too Fast, Too Forever. This is episode number 99, one before 100. Smokey and the Bandit. In 1977, a distinctive slant-nose facelift occurred to the Pontiac Trans Am. Furthermore, the early W72 cars came with the standard 180 horsepower air cleaner. Thank you, Pontiac.
Thank you, Pontiac. Whenever you do these, like, you take such dramatic pauses when you do our sponsorship, and I never know how to edit it. And I'm just like, do I leave that, like,
out if you
6-second gap between thank you, Pontiac? Do I leave that in there? Do I take it out? I don't know. I don't know if it's in the ad read. I don't know how they send it to you, so I don't know.
There is, dramatic pause in parentheses there, so that's what I'd like to add. I mean, if they ask for it, they're paying the bill, so.
Well, so this is the second Hal Needham, Burt Reynolds film. We have talked about this lap. They also teamed up for The Cannonball Run.
Yes.
Hal Needham also, of note, directed Rad, which is cool.
Yes, which we love.
What I did not know when we talked about The Cannonball Run, which I found out in the trivia of this one, was that Hal Needham doubled as Burt Reynolds' stunt double in other movies.
Wow.
Especially the movie Gator, which is a pretty big Burt Reynolds movie from the 70s.
That's cool.
And so when he was working on the set of that, the driver captain, which I guess is the guy who's in charge of the stunt crew, the driver crew, whatever.
Okay.
Apparently brought a bunch of beer, brought a bunch of Coors from California, and the maid kept stealing them. And then Hal Needham remembered, he's like, why does this keep happening? He remembered that there was a article in Time magazine about how Coors was unavailable east of the Mississippi because it was not pasteurized and it needed constant refrigeration. And they just didn't have any like factories, any kind of breweries east of the Mississippi. And he realized that bootlegging Coors would make a good plot line for a movie.
That's a really cool factoid.
Right?
Yeah, that's really, really cool. You know, as beer chasers and guys that have gone to drink beers all over the place, that's a lot of fun. A lot of times beer can't be, I mean, not Coors, but there wasn't, craft brewing in the 70s, not like this.
Well,
so.
It feels like, I mean, based on this, it feels like to a certain extent Coors was like a craft brew. Like it was only available, I think, in 11 states or something. So, I mean, it's still a widely popular beer in those 11 states, but the fact that it's only available in 11 states or whatever, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't like worldwide, like Bud Light. You couldn't get it everywhere.
I also found out that Hal Needham had a real difficult time getting this movie made, and he only after he got Burt Reynolds interested that he agreed to star in this movie that he managed to get studio attention. Apparently, the guy who plays Cletus, a.k.a. Snowman, Jerry Reed, he was supposed to be the original Bandit.
Oh, really?
But then Hal Needham told Burt Reynolds about it, and Burt's like, yeah, I'll do that. He's like, I'll be the Bandit. And so then they're like, oh, okay, so then Jerry Reed, you're going to play Snowman. So we were just talking right before we started that there is a third one of these, which I don't think we're going to do because it's apparently legendarily bad. We are not doing the second one this lap, but whenever we do another lap of, classic car movies, we can do Cannonball Run 2, we can do this one too. Mm-hmm. But in the third one, apparently, they try to get Bandit out of retirement, and he won't. So Snowman becomes Bandit. So, Burt Reynolds is in that a little bit, but it feels like finally he gets to be the Bandit in a movie that apparently is hated by just about everybody.
I know that we play this kind of game a lot when we talk about these movies. Like, this movie is a Burt Reynolds movie for sure, but I don't think that Snowman would be that bad as the Bandit, right?
Well, I think, you have to have a charming, charismatic lead, but, we don't know a lot about the character. You have to be, to a certain extent, you have to be really charming and charismatic. I think Burt Reynolds nails all that.
For sure, I agree.
But it is a lot about the action, it's about the comedy, it's about the car, it's about the stunts. I think a lot of people could have done this. Could he have done it as well as Burt Reynolds? I don't know. Probably not.
But this is one of the first ones that I wouldn't be, where we're like, we could never see that, or I would be so angry if it was this. This is one that I'm like, yeah, it might have worked, that might have been okay.
I mean, this was the second highest grossing film in 1977, behind only a little movie called Star Wars Episode 4.
Oh, fuck.
A.k.a. A New Hope. So this movie was a massive hit. I don't know if it's because of Burt Reynolds. Probably. I don't know if it's because it's a great movie, it's a lot of fun. I don't know, but this movie was a huge hit.
Dude, this is really funny. We talk about how the movies are the movie industry's changing and stuff like that, and blockbusters. But can you imagine if a movie like this came out today? This would be the equivalent of Baby Driver now, right? Budget wise,
You mean huge or what?
Baby Driver wasn't the number 2 movie of the year the Baby Driver came out. You know what I mean? So I'm saying that this movie would be something like Baby Driver, that it's not, you know what I mean? I wouldn't expect every person to, it's not the second highest grossing film of the year, you know what I mean? We have so many more blockbusters now, it's just a completely different world. I can't imagine a world where this is the second most popular movie in a year.
I mean, there were probably, 12 movies that came out in 1977?
No.
No, but but there are okay, actually, let's take a look here.
Yeah, let's look. I want to see now.
So, Smokey and the Bandit in 1977 On Letterboxd, there were 3,000 films that came out. 3,100.
Okay.
That doesn't mean all in studios or whatever, all in theaters. But there's 3,100 films, right?
Okay.
2017, which is when Baby Driver came out, there were 20,800 films. So 7 times as many.
But what other movies came out in '77 besides Smokey and the Bandit and Star Wars?
In theaters, possible hits.
Yes.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Annie Hall. Close Encounters, Saturday Night Fever.
Whereas in like 2017, when Baby Driver came out, what else came out in theaters? That was probably like one Avengers.
It's a different thing altogether. I don't know that a movie like this would actually get made today, because I think it's too small and too weird and like not enough of a plot. Like, so I will say off the bat that I am in love with 1977 Sally Field. I can't imagine anybody who watches this movie is not in love with 1977 Sally Field.
She's adorable.
She was apparently dating Burt Reynolds in the 70s, and they did 4 movies together. She's in both Smokey and the Bandits. She's in The End and Hooper. She's in all 4 of those with Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
She would go on to win 2 Best Actress Academy Awards in the next, 10 years after this.
Damn.
But he had to really convince her because she said that the script was not... she called it too slight. Like, there's just not enough going on. And later she would say that there was no script, they just improvised everything.
It makes sense. It feels like that.
Because they're even movies that, feel like, oh, we're not going to... it's just going to be, a fun little movie. It's like there's layers of complexity that aren't, rarely anymore. And I think it's a bad thing, but I get why it doesn't happen, but rarely is it okay, go there, get beer, come back. Fury Road did that, but Fury Road is also, the best-made movie of the last decade. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, we're going there and we're coming back. And there's a reason those kind of movies resonate, because it's simple, it's fun, it's well-made, you're not complicating things, but
Nope.
I don't think a movie like this would get made. There'd be, a whole, it would be like Ronin, where it's actually, Bandit is, in the CIA. It's no, what are you doing? Stop it.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Every time we watch one of these movies from, the 70s and 80s, I'm like, fuck, what did we do? Where did we go wrong? You know what I mean?
No.
What turn did we take where we're okay, we have to add all of this extra plot in for no reason? Can't I just watch Smokey and the Bandit and watch them just a car chase for an hour and a half? And just yeah.
So the plot is, if you have not seen Smokey and the Bandit, and I highly encourage you do,
It's
I rented
awesome,
this,
yeah.
and then within 15 minutes, I just went on Amazon and I bought the Blu-ray for $8.
Oh, nice.
I want to watch this a bunch. Apparently, it was a guilty pleasure of Alfred Hitchcock, and it's Norm Macdonald's favorite movie. So that's
Alfred
2 good
Hitchcock.
recommendations.
Alfred Hitchcock is always watching Smokey and the Bandit. That's an incredible scene in my head. Can you
I
imagine
think
him?
he died in the early 80s. Can you imagine just in his final 5 years, just watching this over and over again, be like, man, I love this movie.
I know, you're like, Grandpa, do you want to watch Psycho again? He's like, nah, but Smokey and the Bandit really does it for me.
Yeah. So the plot of this is that the Bandit, who is Burt Reynolds,
Yes.
is hired by these 2 guys, a big man in a blue suit and a little man in a blue suit.
It's his father and son.
To go get a bunch of Coors beer and bring it back. And that's
For a party. For a party.
And they've got to do 900 miles each way, and they have to
Yeah.
do it in 28 hours.
Yes.
And so Bandit recruits his friend Snowman,
Cletus.
who's this guy Cletus.
Yeah.
And Cletus is going to be driving the semi, and Burt Reynolds, Bandit, is going to be running interference in his Pontiac Trans Am, right?
Yes.
Is it a Trans Am?
It's Trans Am, yeah, and the Firebird edition of the Trans Am.
And along the way, they pick up Sally Field, who is a bride who left
runaway
her husband,
bride.
her almost husband, at the altar, which we find out later is the son of the cop, right? That is pursuing them.
Yeah, he's Smokey's son.
Yeah,
like
and
actual
I thought
Smokey.
I didn't know if Smokey was the truck driver or if Smokey was the car, but Smokey's just all cops, because they're in the Adirondacks, they're in Texarkana, they're down there, they all call all cops Smokey, and so basically Smokey, the Smokey, is played by Jackie Gleason, the comedian, and he's just pursuing, he's got the jilted groom in the passenger seat of his car.
Yes.
And they're just chasing, even though he's a Texas sheriff, he's chasing them all through,
Arkansas.
Louisiana and Mississippi and Alabama and Georgia.
Yeah.
And that's the movie. And they go, they get it, and they come back.
Yeah.
And along the way, there's a lot of fun to be had.
If you ran Vanishing Point through a comedy filter and put Burt Reynolds in it, it feels a lot like that in some ways, right? If Vanishing Point was very not serious at all.
I did write down at one point Vanishing Point, I was like, they have a completely different point of view about how to handle roadblocks. Because Vanishing Point, he obviously at the end, spoilers for Vanishing Point, drives right into it and blows up. Here, they see the roadblock and just okay, we're going to make a left. It's just we're not going to barrel through. I mean, the semi barrels through roadblocks several times.
But it's a semi.
Right. It's a different thing. It's not like Vanishing Point, I'm going to kill myself. It's no, I want to die. Or I don't want to die. It's I want to live. I want to go back. One of my favorite lines is not about that thing, but it's near the end all along the way, there are people on their CB radios, like, running interference. I also want to say,
yes,
we were supposed to do this earlier this lap, and I was like, I just want to watch. Like, I didn't think I was going to not like this, and I love this movie.
Okay.
I wanted to watch something that I'd seen before, so we bumped Back to the Future up, and this got pushed. I can't overstate how cathartic this felt. And, like, I am way oversimplifying and overstating this, but the fact that, like, this is about a bunch of different people from a bunch of different backgrounds banding together to say, we got your back, saying, fuck the police, we got you, don't worry about it. Everyone across the board, it felt so good to watch this week. It's just
know.
Even though it's just a couple of good old boys with a Confederate flag on their license plate. Like that, it's everyone, black guys, white guys, prostitutes, old ladies. They're all just like, hey, Bandit, we got you. And, like, there's something really wonderful about just seeing a bunch of different people come together and be like, fuck them, fuck the man, we got you.
And, like, you're just running beer, he's not doing anything wrong in their eyes, right? Like, they just, I was thinking that too, man. And I was thinking, like, how much I want to just, like, near the end, like, when they cause all the traffic for the police, like, it's, like, the simplest, tamest, most annoying thing you could do to, like, a police chase is, like, just get, like, 100 cars. Like, I mean, we've seen it kind of like that in Fast and the Furious, right? But this one, just, like, when you're on, like, backcountry roads and they just, like, all pulled out in front of the cops at the same time, you know how infuriating that would be?
Yeah.
Like, you've been on the other side of it, like, where you're stuck in traffic. Can you imagine you're like, okay, we're gonna get this guy, he just blew by me, like, the whole police force is on him, and then there's just, like, 100 cars just, like, driving real slow in the way? I would be so angry.
They do it several times. They do, like, the truck convoy. They do the funeral procession. After it's a CB radio, they're like, no, we got you, man. Because they're getting joy out of hearing Bandit, like, one cop after another just running them into the water. There's, like, 3 or 4 cops that wind up in water in this movie. Like, it keeps happening. They just are there following Bandit across the South, and they're just saying, no, we got you, we're here to help.
We need to bring back CB radios. I think that's what we're missing. Now, what do you got?
So there's also trivia about that this movie, like, boomed the sales in CB radios, and it pissed truck drivers off, because, like, every Tom, Dick, and Harry was just like, oh, breaker, this is,
Bandit.
This is Silverback, what's going on out there? They're like, get off our line. Like, this is supposed to be for actual communication.
Oh, that would also be very annoying. It's like your parents found the internet or something, right? Like,
right?
Yeah, you'd be like, God damn it.
But the line that I was bringing up before that I really, really loved is when they have the prostitutes, like, in this trailer, which is a very justified thing. Like, there are in that show, there's just, like, small town prostitutes that operate out of a trailer. And so they just lure in a cop to, throw him off the scent.
Yep.
They say, why don't you come by and pay up in person? He says, I'm too pooped to pop. And I was like, that's a great line.
That's a great
line. But then, like,
yeah.
the next scene, he and Sally Field are together, and, like, over the course of the movie, they fall in love. And she says, well, what are we going to do when we get home? He says, go to bed for a week. She says, good idea. He says, to sleep. And she says, wanna bet? And I was like, oh my God. Like, that's just adorable. It's sexual. It's hilarious. Like, it's just everything, that whole interaction between them. I'm like, oh, no wonder they're dating in real life, because, like, there is just such banter and chemistry there, and I loved it.
I agree, and this is another thing, that we don't get in the newer movies, is that, like, in a new movie and an HBO show now, they could be like, we're gonna go and fuck for a week. And it, like, loses that playful innuendo-ness that they can't have, like, they can't overtly say that in this movie, right? Without, like, getting, like, censored by the MPAA. To have to work around and kind of build this playfulness makes it a lot of fun too. The dialogue, I think, benefits greatly from it, from not being so direct.
Yeah, because back then in '77, it was either PG or it was R. Basically, families could go or families were not supposed to go, right?
Yep.
And this is a PG-rated movie. There are 2 points where I'm like, in terms of the Fast and Furious, the connections, the fast action, like, do they get the fuck? Like, at one point, they're on it's the back and forth, it's Smokey and Bandit on the CB, and, like, they're taunting each other or whatever. And he says Bandit says to Smokey, like, something about F-O.
He goes, what does F-O mean to you?
He's like, I'm not, because he's, like, so against profanity. This guy is, like, this upstanding, good old country boy from Texas, this sheriff, upholding the law. And then later, when he gets chewed out by this small town cop who's like, you can't drive this car, because his car gets obliterated throughout this movie. Like, it becomes a convertible, the door gets knocked off, like, it's just, it's breaking down, and then he tells the cop after he's like, I don't want to hear this language, I don't hear this language. He tells the cop to fuck off, but the fuck gets covered up by the truck horn.
Yes.
And so it's another, like, you get it, but you don't hear it. So again, it sort of slips under the sensor, which I thought was just a very smart thing to do.
It's so cool. I agree. I really liked it.
So what fast connections? You pick up any fast connections that you saw in this movie before we pop around? Go
so
for it.
Many.
And also I think fast connections now also entails like other movies that we've covered too, right? It's like fast connections to both movies, but also to like other movies that we've covered. Yeah.
The very, very obvious one is we get a Tej bridge jump in this.
Mm-hmm.
Get a full, I mean, it's a wooden bridge. It's not like, what is that called? Like a bridge that lifts?
Like a suspension bridge?
No, the one that like comes up for like a boat.
I know what you're talking about, like in 2, but I don't know what it's called. It's not a suspension bridge. Yeah, but it's like the
It has its own name.
A bascule bridge?
No.
Drawbridge?
Drawbridge. That's what I was looking for.
Apparently the technical term is bascule. Bascule.
Interesting. Yeah, drawbridge. It's not a drawbridge.
Also, by the way, when they landed, like they make the jump, right, in the Trans Am.
Yes.
And that fucked up one of the cars. So like we can't use this car anymore. Like they made the jump. So Hal Needham, real quick before we get back to that,
Go ahead,
I think he wanted like 6 of those and he got 4. Pontiac's like, I'm only gonna give you 4.
Okay.
And he wanted 4 Le Mans, which is the car that the sheriff's car, but he only got 2 of those. But by the end, they had totally wrecked 3 Trans Ams, and the 4th wouldn't start, so they had another car literally push the Trans Am into the scene. But apparently, because this movie was such a big hit, like the Trans Am sales jumped from 68,000 to 93,000, and then 117,000 in the years following. And because this movie made so much money, when they had the sequel, they asked for and easily received 10 Trans Ams and 55 Bonnevilles. So like Pontiac was like, yeah, sure, whatever you want, like we got it. But like here, I guess they were playing hardball.
That's the cool thing about this, like, right? You make a movie that has an iconic car in it, and all of a sudden, like, the car maker's like, fuck.
Yeah,
like, you can do whatever you want from now on, guys. Like, you're good.
Yeah, but yeah, back to that bridge jump. So it is a very Tej moment.
Yeah, we had that, so I was like, oh, that's really cool. All the cars falling in the water, but you already said that. One of my other ones was right before the bridge jump. He, like, rounds the corner, and Bandit's on the CB radio, and he says, I'm just coming down a 2-lane blacktop.
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm. I wrote that down.
Yeah, I had that one.
There's one point where 15 minutes in, he invades his first cop. So the way that he's doing it, and I think I hinted at this in the plot summary, basically, by all means, protect the truck. Because if the truck gets pulled over, they're fucked.
Because it has all the stolen beer, they're bootleggers, they're going to go to jail. Yes.
Yep. And so if there's a cop, a Bandit is supposed to, I keep wanting to call him Smokey because like it feels like he should be the lead of the title. But Bandit is supposed to basically distract the cop so that whatever the truck is doing, whatever the truck could be doing, speeding, whatever, the cop is more inclined to go after Bandit, right?
Yes.
So like 15 minutes in, he evades his first cop. And I think we had read about this in Death Proof, but Burt Reynolds stops, turns to the camera and smiles like it's Stuntman Mike, and I was like, hell yeah. I think that was the minute where I was like, okay, now I gotta buy this movie. Like, I gotta see how much this is. And I was like, oh, $8? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, when he breaks the fourth wall and he kind of just like winks at the camera, it's like, it's so good. Other little fast connection that I saw is when Sally Fields and Bandit, have their romantic outside date. And then she gets over and climbs on his lap and is sitting there riding like Han and Giselle, right?
Well, they have the actual romantic Han and Giselle by the end where like he's driving and she's making out. There's points where she's like lying on his lap, like just like they're talking. Before they have the actual successful Han and Giselle, which I loved in this movie, is that she drives for a while, but at one point he's like, okay, let's switch, like, you've done enough, like, let me get back behind the wheel, like, he doesn't say like, I'm a professional, but like, let me handle this.
Yeah.
And they try to switch and they can't. He's like, I've seen this happen in the movies, basically. It should happen. But like, she's like awkwardly sitting on his lap with her head like poking up over
through the sunroof.
And like, it looks horribly uncomfortable for both of them. I loved that.
I think that has to be a scene where, like, you just said that there's not really, like, a script and like, a lot of it was improv. That has to be a scene where, like, they were trying to do it, and then Burt Reynolds just throws in I've seen this in movies before, and you're just like, the line is too fucking good to cut out. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if he was doing it and Sally Fields is like, oh, shit, like, they're like, okay, we're gonna do, like, the switch while we're driving, like, that's the scene that we're gonna shoot here. And they go to do it, and they just, like, fumble it really hard, and he's like, I've seen this in movies before, and, like... You're just like, yep, dude, you got it. Like, that's it. We can't take that out. There's no better version of this than that. So
exactly. Buford T. Justice, who is the sheriff. He's apparently modeled. So Burt Reynolds' father was the chief of police in Jupiter, Florida, and apparently knew a guy named Buford T. Justice.
Wow.
And so they just kind of made this character after him, which is a very weird and kind of cool thing.
Can you imagine if your name was Buford T. Justice? Like, you have to be
I've
sheriff.
heard that name. Have you heard that name before or no?
Yeah, they use it as an homage to Smokey and the Bandit and, like, a bunch of different things.
I didn't know what it was from, though. I was just like, I just knew the name from something. Like, I knew that the name was someone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like it's probably in, like, The Simpsons. It's probably in South Park. It's probably in Rick and Morty. You know what I mean? Like, all of these kind of cartoons that they'll have, like, a cop named this.
Throughout the movie, he keeps calling people some bitch, and I was just like, oh, that's a very Hobbs thing. And I wonder if, like, just The Rock in his persona, I mean, it's probably just like a Southern thing. It's like the law thing, but, like, just calling people, like, you some bitch. Like, it's just the same kind of intonation, the same kind of inflection, just very reminiscent.
Now that you brought that up, I wanted to tell you this story. I didn't get to tell you it. We're watching this movie. Bandit has a Confederate flag on the front of his car, right? Mm-hmm. And I saw this post the other day that, like, Stone Cold, the wrestler, like Steve Austin, had posted, like, you know, the Confederate flag is bad, right? And he was, like, the Southern wrestler, right? And somebody was like, no, it stands for, you know, states' rights and you know, Southern pride and stuff like that. And he responded as Stone Cold to this person in all caps, and he finishes it with, like, and you racist some bitch, and that's the bottom line, and, like, just like that's just how he ended the response.
I mean, that's better than, like, Seth Rogen put a thing on Instagram, basically like, Black Lives Matter, if you disagree, you can unfollow me, and everybody's just like, come on, man, like, I know you're kind of like lib, and he just responded to literally everyone, just like, fuck off, unfollow me, to every single one, and, like, that was great, but, you know, Stone Cold acting, responding in character, like,
Stone Cold,
being someone who is, like, he's your hero. He's, you know. My favorite person in the world is Stone Cold. Like, when he's in the ring and kicking ass, like, that's me, man.
He's a Southern boy. I can relate to him.
You see him, like, say, like, the thing that you hold dear is bad, and you're like, oh, man. And then, like, to have him come at you in character has got to be, like, the most, like, mind-warping, like, that was cool, but, man, like, I thought you were on my side. I thought you were one of us.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It was so beautiful. Like, he totally just laid it all out and then finished it with, like, and that's the bottom line. And just, like, that's how it ended. And I was like,
yeah,
wow. Incredible. Yep. So you saying some bitch and the Confederate flag in this was making me think of that I saw this week. It was really awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Another fast connection we get a cop car jumped onto a truck.
I wrote that down. That was a kind of a reverse fast connection because we kept having cars fall off trucks, but this one lands on a truck. He's like, I don't know. And
it reminded me of Too Fast with the car onto the boat.
Oh, yeah.
Because it, like, the way it jumped up and lands, like, in it, in, like, kind of
crookedy, kind of hanging off a little bit.
Yep, that's what I was thinking about. And then he goes, can you let me off at the next exit? Like, he was just, like, hopping along.
I did not know. I mean, obviously everybody, like, if the show was named after it, everybody knows the song Eastbound and Down, which would go on to be one of Jerry Reed's biggest hits. Oh, Jerry Reed. Okay, also, Jerry
go ahead.
Reed.
I was going to tell you this, but I'm sure that you read it in the
Jerry
trivia.
Reed, who plays Snowman, he's the singer.
Yes.
He's the guy who wrote that song. I never knew that there was a Westbound and Down, too.
Yeah, they play, like, a very slow clip of it at the beginning when they're starting the movie, because he's going westbound.
Yeah, well, they're going west. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But there's also at one point, and I don't think it's written by Jerry Reed, but there's another one where, like,
the Bandit one.
When Bandit and Frog, who's Carrie, who's Sally Field, she says, "Do you ever take your hat off?" He says, "I only take my hat off for one thing," because he's wearing a cowboy hat the entire movie.
Yep.
And you know, he doesn't say it, but, like, that one thing is sex. And
exactly.
She's like, I think you should take the hat off, and he takes the hat off. But, like, underneath, there's, like, a song that's just like, Bandit, it's Bandit. I'm just like, this is, like, amazing. Like, just like a theme song playing underneath.
This is the first note that I have. I know that we get, like, you know, See You Again, and we got Luda doing Too Fast, Too Furious. I really miss when, like, a movie would have, like, a wholly original score, like a wholly original soundtrack. Like you watch the movie and they're like, okay, we're gonna make every song for this movie, because, like, this one had, like, 4 or 5 original songs in it, right?
There's Eastbound and Down, there's Westbound and Down, there's whatever the Bandit thing is, and then probably at least one more.
Yeah. So I was like, damn, dude, like, I really wish we would have, like, more original Fast and the Furious songs. Like, I know that we get some, so I'm not, like, asking too much out of turn here. They do have great soundtracks too, you know, we're fans. fans. At the same time, like, can you imagine like a full Fast and the Furious like original soundtrack? I'd be like, oh damn, dude. With like, you know, like mentioning like when like Dom comes in and kicks him, you know, and like all of these kind of things.
So what do we have? We have obviously See You Again.
Too Fast and Furious.
Too Fast. Tokyo Drift.
Yes.
Whatever Idris raps on. Remember, he like basically does like a Will Smith rap of like the plot in Hobbs and Shaw.
Yes.
That's like 5 across 9 movies. Is there more, or is there not more?
Does Ja Rule do an original one in the first one? I feel like one of the Ja Rule songs might be an original one.
Well, he has a song called Furious.
Yes, exactly.
So there's 6. There's probably like 1 per movie, maybe, right? But like,
yeah.
But there's also there's songs where like I don't think that Danza Kuduro was written for 5, but like it became written. You know what I mean? Like it's one more just like, oh, this is the song. Like this is the Fast 5 song.
No, but I mean like I want a song that like references shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's like talking about, like, what's going on in the movie right now.
Like a Will Smith rap. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's out of fashion. Unless you're Will Smith. Like, that doesn't happen anymore, I don't think, right? So
no, it doesn't. But I'm saying, like, why not, dude? Like, come on, man. I would love to hear this. So, yeah, it's just me venting. Sorry.
I love seeing, at the end especially, like, they are both hauling ass this entire movie. Whoever the stunt drivers are. Like, we were talking about, remember when it was, the original Gone in 60, when we were, like, tow truck doing, like, crazy U-turns and, like, e-brake 180s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, like, here they have the semi, like,
cranking.
Essentially Tokyo drifting around, like, tight corners and well in control. I was like, damn, like, that's good driving. That's good drifting.
It seemed like when we were watching it, though, there was a couple points where I thought that it looked like they sped up the tape a little bit.
It did, yeah.
It seemed like that, but even still, I was like, he's still cruising, and like...
But I think, like, at the end, that was good. Like, there was one point in the middle where, like, they both come around a turn, like, the camera is, like, street level, and, like, the Bandit car, the Trans Am, kind of looks normal, and then the truck comes around, like, way, like, janky and fast. I was like, oh, this is, like, they were both going slow or whatever. But by the end, that aerial shot, I think that seems in real time.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is crazy.
And they're, like, blowing through people. I'm like, you guys are very brave to see this, like, semi full of beer come barreling through the thing, and you're just, like, cheering on the side. I would be so far away from that road. Like,
yeah.
Like, I'm not that brave. Definitely not me.
I don't know what Smokey and the Bandit 2 is about. I did not look it up. I could, but I did not.
I've never seen
think it's going to be them getting the clam chowder? Or do you think the 2 is going to take place immediately after 1, or no?
No, I don't know. I have no idea.
Do you want me to look up or no?
Yeah, I want like a 1-sentence synopsis. I want like the biggest tilder version we can get. If it's like, I just want to know if they're getting the clam chowder or not.
They're transporting an elephant.
Okay, so no. It's not the continuation of this movie.
No, it's just it's cross-country run, and Buford T. Justice is on his tail again. And Buford T. Justice is in the third one, too, so...
Okay, cool.
Because it would be cool. Like, there are certain sequels where, like, it takes place immediately following the first one. Like, Halloween 2 takes place as soon as Halloween 1 ends.
Yeah.
Like, Quantum of Solace takes place immediately when Casino Royale ends. Like, there is a precedent, or there's a history of those kind of things happening. But here, it could have been, but it's also like, do we really want to just show them? I mean, there is kind of something fun, I think, about them going, like, immediately, like, just when they're still burnt out. But, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Were there any other fast connections? I have some more trivia and stuff, but I don't know if I have any more notes. Are there other fast connections or anything else you want to talk about with regards to the movie?
Just because of, like, you know, we were talking about the time and the climate. As soon as he picks up Sally Fields and we get introduced to Buford T. Justice, he starts, like, the things, he's like, look, like, she disrespected me, she disrespected you, and that's just pure old-fashioned communism. And I was like, what? Like, Rachel and I looked at each other, we're just like, oh yeah, like, that's just, you know, like, when, like, you have, like, a buzzword and, like, everything becomes this thing. Yeah, no, those things weren't communistic at all, but okay, fine, you just wanted to call her a communist for some reason. So, like, I really enjoyed that line, just, like, right now.
Buzzword, man.
Damn social. You're like, well, no, not that part, but sure.
Right.
If you want to be angry about it, cool. There's some other good lines in here that I had. Oh, she's like, why do you do this? Or like, oh no, when he goes to pick up the snowman, right? Mm-hmm. And he's like, it's for the old American life, the money, the glory, and the fun. And I was like, yeah, that sums it up. That's pretty cool, right?
But mostly the money.
Yeah, exactly. Then I was like, oh, that's perfect. So then they're like just driving, and he has the dog with him, and he's like, oh, I think we might have gotten ourselves into... He's talking to the dog Fred, right? And he's talking to Fred, and he's like, Fred, we might have gotten ourselves into some trouble because Smokey's as crazy as you are ugly. And I was just like... Great line. Like, that's just hilarious to me.
Well, what I actually think in that regard is a very smart thing that this movie does, and this is something that I learned from Tobin when I took a screenwriting class, is that it's really hard to advance narrative or to make movies interesting when it's just like one person in a car.
Oh,
and
yeah.
all three of them have someone. And obviously Snowman talking to the dog is a little bit different, but they pick up Frog, the sheriff has the son, which apparently that was Jackie Gleason's idea. He's like, I would play better, it would be easier for me, I think it would be a better movie if I have someone to bounce off of. And so he basically said, hey, put this other guy in the car with me, because I think it'll be better
Makes
overall
sense.
and it works, right? Like,
Yeah.
even though the son is not a huge point, he's able to like make fun of him or get frustrated at him or whatever. And so
Or
I
tell
think
him to do something, and like
exactly.
you just have a ability to do an action.
And so I think the fact that each of them, to a certain degree, like obviously the main one is Bandit and Frog, right? Like that's the main thing here, but like each of them has someone, so we're able to learn more about each. And I think that's a really small thing, but a smart thing they did.
I agree. When they're having that conversation, and she's like, have you ever seen a chorus line? He's like, do you know who Richard Petty is? And like they go back and forth, and he's like, how dumb you are depends on where you're standing in this country.
Yeah.
Your perspective, your whole nurturing and your upbringing plays a role into like why we don't know these things about each other. And like it's just where I was. So it was a really cool little thing to think about right now. Well, we have the internet now, right? So everything's like much more open and stuff like that, but like back then, she doesn't know who Waylon Jennings is and who the NASCAR drivers are and stuff like that, just because, like, she's not from here, so that's how it works.
Anything else about the movie? Any other points, any other thoughts, any other...
Besides, okay, the last thing was there was a Happy Birthday America sign. And when they pull up to get the beer, like it has a Happy Birthday America sign on the beer store, like the distributor store, and I was just like laughing about that because I always say Happy Birthday America instead of like Happy 4th of July, or like make fun of America's birthday as opposed to saying 4th of July.
You had an idea before this episode that's something we did on literally not 100, but like we did like 60 times probably.
I was so disappointed.
Zack Attack.
Yes.
Actually, more than that, because we did like 15 Magic Mics.
Yep.
So probably 75 times already.
Yes.
That longtime listener like Jenny, I don't know if anybody else really followed us over from those to here.
But Jenny
but
would
like
get
Jenny
it.
knows this.
The other day, I got really frustrated because I was sitting there. I was actually doing, like, thinking about the pre-roll. I was trying to find the Gone in 60 Seconds trailer, the original 1960s version, Gone in 60 Seconds trailer. And I remembered that we used to play this game, like Joey's saying, that at the end of the movie, because we had never seen a lot of these movies, we'd watch the trailer.
Or even for the movies that we have seen, I don't know if I have seen the trailer. Like, it's a different thing altogether.
So, like, I wanted to reintroduce this. I'm kind of disappointed we haven't been doing it.
Well, because you first said to me, you're like, we should be watching the trailers. I was like, oh no, we are. Like, in a future lap of the movies, we're gonna talk about like everything, like like in the trailers and stuff. You're like, no. The trailers for the movies we're watching. I was like, oh yeah, obviously. Like, how did I not? Like, it's so obvious in retrospect, and we just never did it.
So yeah, we've been missing out. Usually we watch the trailers. We'll see.
So we are going to now watch the trailer for Smokey and the Bandit. If you look on YouTube, it is called Smokey and the Bandit Official Trailer Number 1, Burt Reynolds movie 1977.
By Movie Clips Classic Trailers.
And I'm going to put the audio underneath this. If you want to watch along at home, you can. You don't have to. Just think about like the Fast and Furious Minute, but just for the trailer. And then we're going to play one other game, or a series of little games.
Yes.
That we used to play on the other ones too. But I just like, it's such an obvious thing in retrospect.
I know. I don't know how we fucking missed it. I don't know either.
All right. 3, 2, 1, play. Ooh, a blue MPA.
Yeah.
Look at that.
The special preview has been approved for all audiences. Okay. Here we go. Little hat comes off. From the jump.
A warm,
so they're selling this as a romance. Maybe it's going to be...
I think it's going to cut into comedy.
Between a man and a woman.
Yeah, because they're saying, it's a relationship between a man and a woman.
And his dog.
A trucker and his dog.
Between a father and his son.
Oh yeah, they're making this out to be serious so they could do something funny.
I like this already.
There we go. Oh shit, we get the bridge jump in the trailer.
Yeah, spoilers.
Damn.
Texas and back.
Damn. I love that song so much. Like, we listen to that song a lot in this house.
I'll be driving this one. Yeah, blocker. You'll be driving the truck. This is Bandit 1 and that is Bandit 2.
This
Bandit
Trans Am
1
is
and
really
Bandit
cool
2.
too.
Would do a thing like that.
I also love the, like, I was thinking, and I'll actually talk more about it, but about Burt Reynolds' introduction in this. I want to talk about it after the trailer.
Cool. Oh, $80,000. $80,000 is a big come up too, by the way.
Yeah, it's like $350 today.
Makes sense.
And Fred.
Fred's in the trailer.
I love it.
Same.
Oh, also the painting, like the mural on the side of the truck is beautiful.
So cool. I bet every trucker in the world's like, I want to do that to my truck one day, you know? Like,
Yep. I wonder if Nick, I'm sure Nick has seen this movie. I'm sure Nick loves this movie, but as our resident long-haul trucker, like...
I want to know what Nick's handle is, too, by the way.
And if he's ever had a Fred in his car.
Oh.
Oh, also, there's a shot, I made a note, that Jenny in our family watch party asked if we ever see pedals in movies, and we see the gas pedal and the brake pedal in one scene in this.
We do. Yeah, that's right. She did ask us during our watch party that.
Arkansas.
Yeah.
Oh, also him getting his ass kicked by the bikers and then
just
running over the bikes was great.
I know, Rachel loved that part. And we gotta drift under a car, but the car...
Yeah, it's not as smooth as Brixton.
No, but like even the Civics in the first one. Like driving under the tractor trailer, but it just takes the roof off of them. Yeah. I love it when they get to the end, yeah.
Once and for all, it's not where you're going that counts. It's who the hell's in back of you.
That's not where I thought that line was going.
Oh, I love that the last word, Bandit, like, skidded past the screen, had to come back in. Actually, I found another, it reminded me, I was thinking about, so there's two things I want to talk about the introduction later, but I want to talk about Frog, about Sally Field.
Okay.
I love her getting changed out of the wedding dress. Like, she takes the wedding dress up over her head and changes into clothes. Like, we don't see, and there's no nudity in this movie. There's nothing even approaching nudity. It's funny, and it's sexy, and it's like all the, like, and just the way that they're having a conversation, you can't see her, you can just hear her through the dress, and I think it's great.
And he's like on the CB radio, he goes, I got the radio here, and she's just like, what da 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 da, and just like rambling to herself, and he's like...
Yeah, but what I really, another connection that I found to Death Proof, and this might be where they got it from, is she's walking away, like they pull over to give Fred the food because they get the burgers. There's like a run-in at the diner. It's so funny where Bandit is eating. He's picking up the burgers and the iced tea, and he's there. And then Smokey comes in out of breath. He's like, "Give me a Diablo," which is apparently like a spicy sloppy Joe.
Oh,
and a Dr.
sounds
Pepper.
good.
So it's a Diablo and a Doc. And he's like, Burt Reynolds is like having a conversation, like, "Hey man, like, who you chasing?" Because he knows who he is.
Yeah.
Who you chasing? What are you after? He's like, "Let me pay for it. You're law enforcement. I got it." So they pull over the side of the road to give Snowman the burgers that Fred can eat. As they're walking back, Snowman says he's like, "Hey Bandit, great," like whispering, like, "great ass," and Sally Field hears him and she says, "Thank you." And I was wondering, it's not exactly that, and I'm sure this has been in a lot of movies. Do you remember in Death Proof, Rose McGowan is leaving with Stuntman Mike, and they're talking about, like, she's probably gonna fuck him or whatever. She's like, "I can hear you." It's like the same, like, you're never really out of earshot. It's like you're walking away with the cool driver who's about to do some cool stuff that you're maybe falling a little bit in love with at the point. It's just kind of a similar moment, whether it's modeled after this or not, because of different context, but it's something that reminded me of that.
The same way as if you break the fourth wall well and tastefully, it works really well. The same way that it reminds you, like, oh, you're watching a movie, but doesn't really bring you out of it. You know what I mean? Like, because normally in a movie, you'd hear that, and you'd be like, oh, only we heard that, or, like, she didn't hear that. But for her to hear it, you're like, oh, fuck, she did hear it. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of throws you out, but then it brings you right back in, and it's like, it's a lot of fun.
The other thing I wanted to point out from the trailer is this is something that I said to Mike, like, only after we did all of Cage, and all of Keanu, and all of Shia, and all of Charlize, and all of Cruz, and half of Hanks, when I was editing our award nominations episode for Cruise, which is going to be up soon, I was like, shit, Mike, we should have had all along best introduction to a character. Because there's certain movies where, like, there's just like a badass introduction. Like the first movie that Tom Cruise is in, this movie called Endless Love, which you would love, by the way. They remade it a couple years ago, but this original one is trashy and wonderful.
Okay.
And I think we probably told you about it when we watched it, like a year and a half ago. But he literally runs on screen from a soccer field, runs on screen, talks about wanting to set fires, and then 41 seconds later runs off screen. It's just like, that was whoa.
That was his whole role in the movie?
That's a whole role in the movie. So we watch this entire movie, and, like, it's beautiful trash. In Charlie Wilson's War, which Tom Hanks is in, there's, like, the Julia Roberts character you hear about, and then you hear her on the phone, and you see a mural of her. Only after all of that you actually see her as a person. It's like the mythology of this woman has been built up.
That's really cool.
Here, I think it's also really cool where, like, they're, we know that Bandit, or whatever I think his name is Bo, he's this local hero that he's getting paid by the day to just be there and sign autographs. But the fact that he goes and he's just, like, in a hammock asleep with the hat over his face, like, we know who it is without seeing who it is. And it's just, like, a cool, like, subtle way to inject, who this guy is. And I think it was a really smart, really cool...
It was really cool.
Really interesting, badass kind of portrayal.
He's so nonchalant and, like, endlessly cool that he's just, like, in the hammock, just unbothered by this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, the last thing that we're going to do in this game, the other game that we played on Zack Attack and Boy from Material and Magic Mike's, is called the Letterboxd game. So there's a couple different games here. We played this on, I think, on our diagnostics episode of the first one. So you probably, if you are a astute listener, if you have good memory, there's a couple different games here. So Smokey and the Bandit, 1977. So the first thing we're going to play, how many people have seen this movie? So Joe, for reference.
Yes, and for
Mad
reference,
Max
we
Fury
always
Road.
use Mad Max Fury Road as the reference standard.
Because
Why?
it is one of, if not the most popular movie on Letterboxd.
Exactly. That's at the time it was the most viewed movie on Letterboxd, so that's always our standard.
Mad Max Fury Road has been seen by 576,000 people. Okay?
Okay.
Smokey and the Bandit, 1977, directed by Hal Needham, starring Burt Reynolds, Sally Field, Jerry Reed, and Jackie Gleason, has been seen by how many people?
I'm gonna go 47,000.
Lower.
Oh, really? 25.
Lower.
Really? 17.
17,509.
So I was trying to factor in, like, the age scale, but, like, how classic it was. You know what I mean? Because I'm assuming that a lot of people on Letterboxd are probably around 30 or under.
I don't say this to make a joke, but it feels mostly like film critics, like film snobs, and gay high schoolers. Like, just,
Exactly.
That's it. And queer high schoolers. It's those two audiences, and that's it. So, like, I don't think that this is one that a lot of, like, 16-year-old girls are going to be liking.
Yep.
A lot of the people I follow on Letterboxd have seen this and have rated this, but only 18,000 people have logged it. So now, out of those 18,000 people, has an average rating of 3.5, which is really good.
Okay.
Weirdly, there are almost an equal number, literally within 40, of 3-star ratings, 3.5-star ratings, and 4-star ratings.
Damn.
There's like 2,350 of each. Like, I've never seen a graph where it's like basically like a solid line through those three. Like, it's just a really weird thing to happen. How many of the 18,000 or 17,509, how many people put it in their top 4?
Oh,
Keep in mind that Alfred Hitchcock, as far as I know, is not on Letterboxd, and I don't know that Norm Macdonald is either.
I would say 6.
Higher.
15.
Higher.
27.
Higher.
Really? Damn, this is higher than I expected. Okay, 45.
Higher.
100? Over 100?
68.
68. Wow.
So proportionally, I think probably really high. Like, not a lot of people,
really high,
according
for
to
us.
Letterboxd, have seen this, but the people who have seen this love this.
Even if a movie's, has 100,000 5-star ratings, for it to be in a top 5 is like, or top 4 is really, really hard. Yeah, I thought it would have been much lower, but that's awesome. So the people that do see it love it and love it hard.
Yep, I have. So there's one other thing that we have to do, and I found a great. Actually, here, hold on. Let me see what this guy's is. Hold on. I found a good one. I found somebody who, of those 68 people, who has it in their top 4, who ideally gave it a 5-star rating, wrote a review, has a picture, basically uses the service as it's supposed to be used. So I found Brent at Catfish Billy on Letterboxd.
Okay.
5 stars, says beautiful mustache, cowboy, bad boy. What could make Burt Reynolds more charming? A big block 1977 Trans Am. Now add a transport and a 54-foot trailer full of Coors Banquet, and you have the perfect movie.
Wow.
5 stars.
Wow.
So now Brent on Letterboxd has Smoking the Bandit as his number 4 movie.
Okay.
Top 3 you're trying to guess. 2 in the same series. We have not talked about these yet, but given what these movies are about or who's in these movies, I will not be more specific than that yet. 2 in the same series, they will be covered on this podcast one day. The 2 in the series are both this century. Like, they came out, those movies came out in 2006 and 2009, and then the other movie is from the early 80s. But you can get all 3.
Okay. Are they all car movies?
None of them are car movies. Although in one of them, the poster includes a vehicle. Not a motor vehicle, but a vehicle.
What the fuck? 2006, 2009.
Yep, it's a movie and a sequel. There's never been a third one. It's just these 2 movies, standalone, as this thing, starring someone in the franchise, in the Fast and Furious franchise.
Oh, fuck. Riddick.
No, there's like 4 of those.
Damn. Starring someone from Fast and the Furious.
They're both action movies.
Both action movies.
2 of my if I had to rank like my 100 favorite movies, I think they'd both be in there. Oh, and this is another one. Going back to what I was saying before, that the sequel happens immediately following the first movie.
Who's the actor? Let me think. Give me
If I
another
tell you that, I
clue.
think it's going to be too easy.
Give me another clue then. Is it the transporter?
No, but you're really close. There's 3 of those.
Okay, so Statham.
Mm-hmm.
What else was he in? Not the transporter.
These movies rule. These movies are so good.
Like Crank?
Crank and Crank High Voltage are his number 1 and number 2 favorite movies of all time.
We got there eventually.
Number 3, there is a vehicle on the poster. I'm trying to be weird and vague, but also helpful. Of all the movie moments, this is gonna be infuriating. Like, it's a very specific clue that you're gonna have no context for whatsoever.
Okay.
But of all the movie moments, of all the movie scenes that include this vehicle, I think this is probably the most, to use a Brian High School Slumber Party Rodriguez term, the most iconic. There's something that happens in this movie with a vehicle, not a motor vehicle, a vehicle, that is probably the most iconic way that this vehicle has ever been used in a movie. And it's on the poster.
Is it like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but a skateboard?
No, but you're not, like, you're on the right track in terms of the vehicle, sort of.
Okay.
But I mean, I guess you always would, because like there's not a lot of vehicles that aren't.
Yeah, like
it's not an
is it like Rad with the bike?
Nobody knows Rad. Like, I love Rad, but like Rad, it's not an iconic. Like, this is
Supercross.
But it is a bike. It is a bike. It is a bike.
Okay.
What is the most iconic? I don't know if it's going to be top of brain for you. I don't know if you're going to agree with me. But what's the most iconic bike shot, bike moment, bike scene in any movie ever?
E.T.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Because the poster is just him, Elliot with E.T. on the bike in the basket in front of the moon.
I would argue that Pagemaster has the most iconic bike part ever, but
I've never even seen Pagemaster. I don't even know if I've heard of it, but like I don't know Pagemaster.
Well, you're fucking up, dude. Pagemaster's a great movie.
Is this like you and Rachel saying last night, like, yo, you want to see a great movie, watch In Time? And everybody in the watch along was just like, wait, did you say great movie In Time? Like, nobody's ever called that a great movie. Is this
No, Pagemaster's a fucking classic. It's a sleeper children's pick. It's like Short Circuit. It's along those kind of lines. Do you remember
Macaulay Culkin?
Fucking Pagemaster's great. I'm telling you, it's a great movie. People know. If you agree, write in.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not, but I don't think it can compare
to E.T.
with
no.
E.T.
Us being a bit facetious, but I love Pagemaster, and I think it should get more respect than it does.
Any other thoughts about Smokey and the Bandit before we announce next week's movies?
No, it's awesome. Just fucking see it. Oh, and you know what? The last thing that I didn't say, I don't think that this is very on-brand, or maybe it is because it's so off-brand. I spend a lot of time listening to, like, old honky-tonk country music. Like, I hate country music. I hate modern country so much. I couldn't name like one Kenny Chesney song. Honky tonk, like this kind of like Waylon Jennings, fucking these kind of songs. Oh god, they just do something for me, and like I can listen to them all the time. Like, I would love to just play this in a bar. It's like perfect bar music for me for some reason. I don't know why, but I love it.
Next week.
Yeah.
On Tuesday, we have our 100th episode spectacular. So nothing to watch.
Got
a lot planned. I don't know, in planning what this is going to be, I don't know if this is going to be a supremely long episode, an unexpectedly short episode, or right on pace. I don't know. It could be any of those things. I don't know how it's going to shake out.
Yeah, true.
But Tuesday, the 100th episode. And then, so we only have this lap 4 more effectively pit stops. There's only 4 more movies that we're watching, 4 more classic car movies. Next Friday, we're watching a movie that I have not seen, a movie directed by William Friedkin, a movie called To Live and Die in L.A.
Okay. Doesn't Tarantino reference that at some point, too?
Probably.
I think so.
A fearless Secret Service agent will stop at nothing to bring down the counterfeiter who killed his partner.
Oh.
From what I understand, there's a car chase. This is not a car movie, but I think there's a spectacular, from what I understand, a great car chase. And this is overall a great movie. So even if it's not it's not a comedy, I think it's just an action movie. It's an action thriller, action crime. So it's not going to be like Midnight Run, but I'm going to compare it to Midnight Run in that, like, it feels like even if it's not exactly a movie we should be covering, it's going to be a great movie to watch and a great movie to see. And something that I've been meaning to see for a while. Like, I've heard great things about it.
Yeah, I've heard this before,
but it was on those lists of, like, best car chases or best car chase movies or best car movies or whatever, right? So that's going to be next Friday. It'll be episode 101 as we break off, to use Comedy Bang Bang parlance, break off a new hundo with episode 101. But yeah, we're coming down the end of the lap. I mean, this month, June, we are going to be recording our intro interview, not our exit interview, but our intro interview with Nico and Kevo to put on the tune-up relap recap to see what they know or what they think they know about the franchise before they join us for all next lap. But like, that's coming up soon. We don't have that much more runway, this lap.
That's crazy. I mean, and we've done so many, so it feels weird.
It does feel like this has been going on forever, but it feels like I don't want it to end, because there's so many more that I want to do, but we got more laps, we got nothing but time.
Got nothing but time, brother. That's for sure.
For all things Too Fast, Too Forever, you go to cageclub.me, facebook.com/TooFastTooForever, or at TooFastTooForever on Twitter and Instagram. Email us, family, at cageclub.me. Come back on Tuesday for our 100th episode spectacular. Check out toofasttooforever.com for our Patreon, and just, send us a note, family at cageclub.me, and say hi. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe, too.
And we'll see you next time right here on Too Fast, Too Forever. Peace out, you anus piecers.